Chapter 1461. Emperor's Battle. When the ordinary inhabitants of the small world realized that they were living in a small world and that it was fake, they were dumbstruck. The small world had existed for a few hundred years. They hadn't seen much of the outside world, so they didn't understand what was going on. They're going to be annihilated, thought Lin Feng. For the ordinary inhabitants of the small world, it was a tragedy. Emperor Qi, there's no need to attack again, I'll just come out, said Emperor Yu calmly. He rose up in the air and the small world progressively went back to normal again. Let's go out, said Mu Qin to everybody, leaving the sky above the sky. Once they got outside, they saw 3 emperors flying above them. Emperors are going to fight, this will be a tragedy, thought some people. Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Qi were joining hands to fight against Tiantai's emperor. You could have just talked. Why scare ordinary people? Asked Emperor Yu calmly and serenely after remaining silent for a few seconds. Doesn't it work better that way? Said Emperor Qi indifferently. Maybe, but it's impolite. So what? Said Emperor Qi smiling in a cold way. Attack, said Emperor Yu calmly. Emperor Qi and Emperor Tianlong hadn't come to have a cup of tea, obviously, they wanted to fight. They were all low-level emperors, but killing Emperor Yu wouldn't be easy either. Die! Shouted Emperor Qi jumping forwards. In a flash, the sky shook violently and the people residing in Tiantai looked extremely nervous. Emperor Qi and Emperor Tianlong wanted to kill Emperor Yu. Some black fissures and marks appeared in the sky and they were heading for Emperor Yu. Empty space cosmic strength, those are empty space fissures, thought Lin Feng. Those fissures were extremely fast, they also looked powerful. If such an attack reached Tiantai, many, if not all of them would die. But it didn't seem like Emperor Qi wanted to attack Tiantai. Don't forget that there are binding forces between emperors. If Emperor Qi and Emperor Tianlong kill us, Tiantai still has 2 emperors. Their descendants and disciples would all die if they did, said Mu Qin. Everybody nodded. Even if those people were emperors, before killing the 2 emperors of Tiantai, they wouldn't be able to kill Tiantai's disciples. That was an intangible rule. That was also why until now, no emperor had ever dared attack Lin Feng directly. The previous time outside of Tianyuan City, Emperor Qi and Emperor Tianlong were there to block Emperor Yu, but they wanted Qi Qianxing to kill Lin Feng. The fissures, which were as fast as lightning, lacerated the sky and moved towards Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu was surrounded by incredible yellow lights which condensed into an earthen armor. The gigantic fissures crashed onto his earth armor, and a layer of armor broke apart, but Emperor Yu still looked calm and serene. They use cosmic energies to protect themselves and attack. The intensity of their force is similar, but their cosmic energies make all the difference, thought Lin Feng. Emperor Qi couldn't kill Emperor Yu with one strike with cosmic energies. Boom boom. Lin Feng suddenly shook violently and so did the earth and sky around him. Emperor Tianlong jumped forwards, punching the air in Emperor Yu's direction. A gigantic dragon fist appeared, and it contained a terrifying strength. Emperor Tianlong understood physical strength cosmic energy, so his attacks were extremely powerful. Emperor Yu shook his hands and a mountain appeared, causing the earth and sky to shake even more. Emperor Tianlong felt oppressed beneath that mountain. Earth punch! Shouted Emperor Yu furiously. A strong wind blew, and a hole appeared in the sky. Emperor Qi's silhouette flickered, and he appeared near Emperor Yu. He shook his hand and a broken empty space appeared next to Emperor Yu. The crowd couldn't even follow their attacks with their eyes because they were too fast. Gotcha! Emperor Yu's body turned into a mountain. The mountain exploded after the 2 enemies' attacks crashed onto it. However, when it broke apart, Emperor Yu was still looming above them. Die! Shouted Emperor Yu furiously. Several gigantic mountains descended from the sky, faster than anyone ever imagined a mountain could travel. What a terrifying strength, thought the crowd. Lin Feng couldn't believe his eyes. It reminded him of when he watched movies on TV in his previous life. For example, Su Wukong the Monkey King who could destroy mountains with just his 5 fingers. Emperor Qi was already blurry, he was moving too fast actually. Emperor Tianlong didn't dodge them, instead he destroyed a mountain heading towards him. Lin Feng's eyes turned black. He was in his own world, watching those people fighting at the speed of light. Their moves seemed slower in his head, but as before he could only see their shadows. Emperor Yu wanted to move back, but suddenly an empty space wall appeared. Golden lights appeared and sealed the space around him. Emperor Si Kong appeared out of nowhere and attacked by surprise. "Break!" shouted Emperor Yu furiously. He punched the empty space wall, causing explosions to light up the sky. As he wanted to leave, Emperor Si Kong attacked him, and blood splattered. Emperor Yu is injured. People from Tiantai were extremely worried and scared. Emperors were the hearts of influential imperial groups. 3 emperors were fighting against Emperor Yu, so if Emperor Yu died, things would become difficult for Tiantai. Emperor Qi and the others entered the empty space and chased after Emperor Yu. In the distance, some terrifying sounds appeared. "It's Emperor Wen, he came to help Emperor Yu," thought the crowd. They felt a bit relieved. "Don't worry. They're all low-level emperors. They can't really kill each other," said Mu Chen to the crowd. An emperor had to be a lot stronger than another emperor to kill him. I wonder how the strength of emperors is classified, but it seems that I'll have to wait until I'm an emperor to learn more about that, thought Lin Feng. He felt like an alien watching that battle. He couldn't imagine how strong those people were. Were they all equally strong? Were there ways to differentiate emperors in terms of strength? A silhouette came out of the empty space and the crowd was surprised. Emperor Tianlong had left the empty space. Tiantai's people were extremely nervous and fixedly staring at Emperor Tianlong. Did he want to attack Tiantai's disciples? "Lin Feng," said Emperor Tianlong coldly. Lin Feng had killed 7 princes, so he wanted to avenge them. Mu Chen moved in front of Lin Feng and said coldly, "Emperor Tianlong, don't forget imperial rules. If you attack our disciples, Tianlong Divine Castle will be annihilated. Emperor, you won't come back to Tiantai, so get ready to die," said Emperor Tianlong. Then he moved back into the empty space and disappeared. Tiantai's people were sad and worried. Emperor Tianlong couldn't catch up with Emperor Yu, otherwise he wouldn't have come back, said Mu Chen, smiling in a cold way. Chapter 1462. Tiantai's disappearance. All 4 emperors were in the empty space, so nobody knew what the battle looked like inside, but many people were still recovering the initial fight. 3 emperors had attacked Tiantai, so things were going down. Elsewhere in Tianjing City, there were 3 groups of people. Ordinary people looked at them and they were shaking in fear. Those 3 groups of people wanted to attack Tiantai because they belonged to their enemies. When Emperor Yu wasn't there, Mu Chen was the leader. He rose up in the air and said to Tiantai's people, "Everybody, disperse now, it's too dangerous. If Tiantai comes back to life, you can come back. Of course, if you want to join other groups, Tiantai won't blame you." Lin Feng and the others were together while looking up at Mu Chen. They were speechless. Did he want to dismantle Tiantai? People from Tiantai looked at Mu Chen but remained silent. Mu Chen smiled and said, "Don't be sad. Tiantai will come back and it will rise to even greater heights. For the time being, you can just go elsewhere and practice cultivation." "Brother, can't we fight against them?" asked someone. Why was Mu Chen acting like that? The emperors were fighting, so would more people come to attack Tiantai? Mu Chen shook his head. 2 big clans, plus Tianlong Divine Castle, which has existed for over 1,000 years, while Tiantai has existed for a short time only. Let's disperse. We'll gather again someday. Mu Chen was right. If people fought, they had to at least be Zun cultivators or else they'd die on the spot. Take care, brothers. Many people waved at Mu Chen and the others and left. Mu Chen turned around and looked at Lin Feng and the other direct disciples. You can also disperse. I'll leave some memories in your brains so that I can find you in the future. If I don't, remember that since you came out of the ancient battlefield, you've started your real journey. In 1 year's time, come back to Tiantai, said Mu Chen, smiling. He then left memories in Lin Feng and the others' brains. Brother, the direct disciples were unhappy. If we get destroyed, we'll never rise again. Please, brothers, just take care of yourselves, said Mu Chen, smiling. All right, there are 8 more months, become stronger and come back, said Mu Chen, waving. Go and become stronger, said Ho Qing Lin to everybody. Then he jumped and left. He was the first one of them to leave. Brothers, take care. Everybody started dispersing. If one of the teachers remained, as well as the direct disciples, Tiantai wasn't dead. Concerning Tiantai's territory, it was just a symbol. It could have been situated anywhere else. Meng Qing and Qiu Yu Exine flew over to Lin Feng. Let's go, said Lin Feng smiling at the girls. They nodded at Mu Chen and then they jumped onto Lin Feng's gigantic sword and left. After everybody left, the three armies arrived in Tiantai, but there was nobody there. It was empty, as if Tiantai had never existed in the first place. Damn you, said Qi Qianxing. He clenched his fists and released terrifying energies meaninglessly into the sky. The crown prince and the second prince of Tianlong were also upset. If you see any disciples from Tiantai, kill them, shouted Qi Qianxing furiously. Immediately, people's silhouettes started flickering away. Roger, replied the members of the Qi clan. At the meeting of the emperors, Tiantai's people had killed so many people from the Qi clan, but that didn't mean the Qi clan was weaker. It was just that the medium-level Zun cultivators from Tiantai were too strong. All disciples from Tiantai must die, said the members from Tianlong Divine Castle as well. Even if Tiantai's disciples were running away, they still had to die. A sword was whistling outside of Tianjing City. Meng Qing and Qiu Yu Exine were leaning against Lin Feng. Qiu Yu Exine said, Lin Feng, why did Mu Chen make that decision? Qiu Yu Exine didn't understand. We are the 12 direct disciples. We're not only talented but we're also close to each other. Mu Chen wants to protect us, but it's also a kind of test. We have to become stronger, we have to become emperors, said Lin Feng, raising his head to the sky. Then he whispered, of course, maybe I don't understand everything. Emperor Shi has never shown up. What were Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu thinking? A day later, the news spread all around Ba Huang that Emperor Tianlong, Emperor Si Kong and Emperor Qi had joined hands to attack Emperor Yu. That and Tiantai had disappeared without leaving a trace. Concerning the result of the battle, some people said that Emperor Yu had been chased and that Emperor Wen had appeared to help. However, nobody knew the results of the battle. 1 month later, in many influential imperial groups in the Ba Huang province, many former disciples of Tiantai had started integrating themselves. However, nobody knew what the emperors of Tiantai or their direct disciples had become. However, some people said that Tianlong Divine Castle and the Qi clan had captured some former disciples of Tiantai. 2 months later, it was said that a young man had been to the island of the 9 dragons on the Huang Sea and had killed people there. He had even chased the leader of the island of the 9 dragons. Some people said that the young man was Lin Feng, one of the incredible geniuses from Tiantai. The leader of the island of the 9 dragons had, before dying, shouted, Lin Feng, we're not enemies, why kill us? Some people said that he was with 2 beautiful girls, so it was probably Lin Feng. For months later, in the Qi Empire from Jiaoyu, Emperor Dong's son, Qi Yan, had announced that he was going to get married a month later and had invited many people from everywhere to attend. At that moment, Lin Feng had also come out from the ancient battlefield, and that 4 months were left before he could go to the holy city. Chapter 1463. Who is he? In the eastern part of Ba Huang, in Shuri City, many people were talking about the gossip of Ba Huang in a restaurant. Many bloodbaths had occurred, and many geniuses had risen and fallen. The influential imperial groups of Ba Huang province were also fighting like madmen. The battles between the Wen clan, the Qi clan and some others were the fiercest. The Qi clan, Tianlong Divine Castle and the others joined hands to fight against the Wen clan because the Wen clan was working with Tiantai. Even though Tiantai disappeared, the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle won't give up. The Qi clan had even captured some disciples from Tiantai. He also burnt Tiantai's territory down to the ground. He wanted to attract some people from Tiantai with that stunt. Some people did flock over because they were upset, but Qi Qianxing killed them easily, said some people sighing. They didn't have any new news from Tiantai. The emperors from Tiantai had protected their disciples and made everyone disperse. The Qi clan and the others knew that Tiantai had probably asked their disciples to leave and practice cultivation while they were away. They even paid attention to any clues they might find. For example, the number of abstruse tablets a cultivator had was considered a clue. Hee, don't you know that some of the homes of Tiantai's disciples are under surveillance? In order not to infuriate their allies, they hadn't killed their families, because they're just too scared. Said someone loudly. Don't be too loud. You want to get killed or what? Said someone else. Then, that person stopped talking because he noticed that many people were looking at him. Your tongue or an arm, you choose, said a young man at that moment. That person immediately turned pale. Your Excellency, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, said that person bowing. He was terrified. His face was deathly pale. In Shuri City, if he infuriated the Qi clan, he would certainly die. Slash, slash, a table exploded. The young man stood up and looked at the person he had infuriated. It's Qi Zong. The crowd was horrified. Qi Zong was alone in the restaurant drinking and eating. Qi Zong had risen after the meeting of the emperors. He had already broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer and his abstruse energy was level 9. Should I do it myself? Asked Qi Zong calmly. That person's face was deathly pale. He closed his eyes and shouted furiously. Then he cut off his own arm. He was a cultivator of the Tianqi layer, so he couldn't recover it until he became a Zun cultivator. Qi Zong didn't look at him again. He just walked away and left the restaurant. Qi Zong is cruel, but he's very strong. People must obey him in these parts. If someone is reckless, they must pay the consequences for it. Now people were making fun of the guy who had lost an arm. The one who had lost an arm left the restaurant. He was still bleeding intensely. Wait, said someone at that moment. He turned around and saw a young man who was at the table next to the one where Qi Zong was sitting a moment before. I'll help you stop the bleeding. Then that person walked to him. It was Lin Feng, but he had changed his face. The masks Mr. Xiao had given him were peerless items, so nobody could recognize him. The Qi clan couldn't imagine it either, that the young man they wanted to kill the most was in their Shuri city. Lin Feng put his hand on the young man's wound and released life energies. That person instantly felt better. Abstruse strength, life abstruse energy, thought that person. Lin Feng was so young and could already use life energy. He had to be at least a medium-level Zun cultivator. After all, Lin Feng didn't know him, and on top of that, he had just defended Qi Zong. People around were surprised to see someone helping him. Have a sip of that. Lin Feng took out some life water and put some drops in the young man's mouth. Slowly, his arm started growing again. People were astonished. Life water was priceless and that guy was seemingly wasting it. After watching his arm grow again, he stood there speechless for a moment. Then, he deeply bowed before Lin Feng and said, "Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I am unable to repay your kindness though. Let's go out and have a walk," said Lin Feng nodding. He stood up and left. That young man didn't understand. Did Lin Feng need him to do something? Even though he didn't understand, he still followed him. "Do you want to get your revenge?" asked Lin Feng. They were walking on the main road. That person was incredulous and said to Lin Feng using telepathy, "We're in Shuri City, it's the Qi clan's own territory. Qi Zong is the most talented young cultivator of the Qi clan at the moment and I only have the strength of the Tianqi layer. There's no way I can get my revenge." "I can help you," said Lin Feng smiling. That person looked at Lin Feng and guessed that Lin Feng probably didn't like Qi Zong either, but he hesitated because the Qi clan was too dangerous. "What do I have to do?" "Qi Yan, Emperor Dong's son, is going to get married soon. The emperor of the Qi clan, Emperor Qi, is an elder for Qi Yan. He will definitely go to Jiuyu for the wedding. Besides, he'll bring some high officials from the Qi clan with him. When they're gone, I can maybe kill half of their people," said Lin Feng calmly. Lin Feng knew that the Qi clan had captured and killed some people from Tiantai recently. Wedding? Would the Qi clan still be protected during Qi Yan's wedding? He's so confident, thought that person. Can you check when they're leaving the Qi clan? That person was surprised and nodded. If the high officials of the clan do leave, then people will talk about that, definitely. They have a special portal on their territory, therefore, they won't leave using the main roads. Maybe they'll be gone but we just won't see it," said Lin Feng. I don't blame you if you don't find any information. Helping you was only a slight effort. After listening to Lin Feng, his eyes twinkled. Qi Zong had made him cut off his arm because of one simple sentence. He obviously wanted to get his revenge. I'll try and find a solution. If I don't have precise information, I won't let you take any risks. Alright, if you hear anything, we can show up at high noon in that restaurant and I will understand. If you have no news, don't go to that restaurant and I will understand too. I'll be there every day. Be careful, said Lin Feng nodding. Then he disappeared. That was a good way to get some information, but even if that person didn't learn anything, it didn't matter. The most important thing was not to make any mistakes. After that, Lin Feng went to that restaurant every day and drank alcohol at high noon. He changed his face every day even. After 10 days, that person showed up, sat down and glanced around. Lin Feng left the restaurant and came back in with the face he had when he had first met that guy. That person looked happy to see Lin Feng. Let's go. The Qi clan has been gathering presents for the past few days. They left this morning. However, I'm not sure whether Emperor Qi left or not. After all, nobody will talk about Emperor Qi's whereabouts, so nobody knows his timetable, said that person to Lin Feng using telepathy. That's good enough, said Lin Feng smiling. He then cheered with that guy and said, Cheers. Cheers, said that person smiling as well. Then Lin Feng left. That person looked at Lin Feng and whispered, Who is he? Maybe he would know soon. Chapter 1464. Nightly Massacre. That night, in the vast territory of the Qi clan, people were chatting, but as it became later, less and less people were active. Some people slept while some practiced cultivation. All in all, it was an average night. The Qi clan was such a powerful clan that they didn't need night guards or guards in general. They were very confident that their reputation was high enough that it would deter any unwelcomed visitors. There were special cultivation towers in Qi clan. One of them was a fire cultivation tower. Someone came out of it, but it wasn't necessarily heat but some type of cold fire that was emanating from him. Who's that? Someone suddenly shouted. Some lights appeared, and that person was suddenly surrounded by energies. Don't talk, said someone. A black robe appeared, and someone grabbed his neck. That person looked at the cultivator in black clothes and pulled a long face. Then he told him using telepathy, Your Excellency, this is the Qi clan. I know. I just want to use your teleportation portal. I have no other intentions. Bring me there, of course. If you do anything reckless, I can guarantee that you'll die before the Qi clan even knows I'm here, said the cultivator in black clothes indifferently. Then he disappeared in the darkness again. That person was freaked out. All right, I'll take you there, said the Qi clan's cultivator walking towards the portal. After all, Emperor Dong had organized a ceremony, so if that person wanted to use their portal, it was only normal. Surprisingly, he used force though, but he didn't ask himself too many questions. Would anyone dare attack the Qi clan anyways? The Qi clan's portal was centered in a courtyard. There was an ancient room with a hole inside. There are 2 guards there, you must go through them to use the portal, said that person to Lin Feng using telepathy. Alright, you take me there, said Lin Feng. That person was surprised and Lin Feng disappeared again. He couldn't refuse, so he continued walking towards the room. They walked in and there was, indeed, a portal filled with empty space energies and 2 guards just calmly standing there. Masters, I want to use the portal to go abroad and practice cultivation, said that cultivator. The 2 guards opened their eyes and frowned. They found it strange. They had broken through to the 8th Zunqi layer, so their perceptions were acute. Suddenly, dazzling lights appeared, and the cultivator's head was cut off. Die. A terrifying death energy surrounded the 2 guards. Then, sharp sword lights, and a desolate Xana attack made one of the elders' head explode. The other guard noticed a black robe, but it was only for a second. Terrifying empty space holy marks surrounded his body, preventing him from moving. Then a gigantic black hand grabbed his head. He was soaked in a cold sweat. He was surrounded by death energy. It was the first time that he thought he was going to die. Surprisingly, someone was attacking them in their own territory. Did Qi Qianxing leave with Emperor Qi? asked Lin Feng using telepathy. His voice sounded like a demon's voice. His eyes were pitch black. He did, said that person. He was obviously terrified. Demon cursing energies were corroding his body. He realized he had replied to Lin Feng only after having spoken. How many people did Emperor Qi bring? Asked Lin Feng. Some outstanding young cultivators, Qi Qianxing, and some core disciples. While they were talking, suddenly 2 more people appeared at the entrance. They were stupefied and stopped. Someone was threatening a strong cultivator from the Qi clan? That's exactly what they wanted to do. Brother! Lin Feng was astonished. It was Ruoxie and Mo Qingtian. You are... That strong cultivator's face changed drastically. Then, Sword Qi emerged, and Lin Feng beheaded him. Lin Feng. Ruoxie and Mo Qingtian recognized Lin Feng and smiled. We were wondering if it'd work, and now you're here. We're even more relieved. Lin Feng laughed. He was happy. Lin Feng, it's not the first time we've done that, said Mo Qingtian, smiling at Lin Feng. They had done something similar in Tianyuan City at the Yang clan. It was just more dangerous this time since it was an imperial clan. Brothers, we have to hurry up because this place is huge, said Lin Feng. You're right. They left this morning, so let's kill as many people as possible. We have to get our revenge, said Mo Qingtian. We should change our plan now. Leave a memory with Lin Feng and me. Then, stay near the teleportation portal, and if you see them come back, break the memory to inform us. We're better at killing, so Lin Feng and I should go, said Ruoxie to Mo Qingtian. Mo Qingtian knew how to use the power of the stars, so he could change colors to become sneakier. All right, I'll wait in the empty space until they come back. Then I'll inform you that you must leave immediately, said Mo Qingtian. Initially, they were only 2, so it wasn't enough. After having organized a strategy, Mo Qingtian left some memories in Lin Feng and Ruoxie's bodies and then entered the empty space. Lin Feng and Ruoxie didn't leave immediately. They waited for Mo Qingtian to arrive first. Ruoxie, brother, we can't show ourselves too soon. We must first slowly kill people, said Lin Feng. Ruoxie knew desolate abstruse energy, speed abstruse energy, and was good at killing people with speedy sword attacks. But Lin Feng knew even more things. 2 people silently left the teleportation room and then disappeared into the darkness of the night. In some room, a cultivator of the 6th Zunqi layer was lying down sleeping. He had practiced cultivation and had just broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer, so finally he could have a rest. However, at that moment he sensed something and opened his eyes. A black shadow had appeared in front of him. Slash! A sword beheaded him. He hadn't even had time to react. He was killed in his own room. The killer disappeared into the darkness again and moved from room to room killing Zun cultivators. Ruoxie was doing the same. His speed abstruse energy had reached the top of the 8th level already, so he could move like an illusion. Of course, Ruoxie wasn't as fast as Lin Feng. After all, Lin Feng used shadow abstruse energy and could hide in the darkness perfectly. He killed countless people in the first half an hour. Cultivator Tower. Lin Feng saw some cultivation towers in the distance. The fire tower was illuminating the darkness of the night. There must be a lot of cultivators there, thought Lin Feng, smiling evilly. Then he flew over to the tower. Any member of the Qi clan could go in without any restrictions, so there were no guards. Lin Feng entered the tower and glanced around. There were many people, most of them being low-level Zun cultivators who were sitting cross-legged and practicing cultivation. The fire on the top floors is hotter. Lin Feng released fire energies, so nobody paid any attention to him. Besides, the Qi clan was gigantic. People couldn't possibly know everyone else in the clan. Chapter 1465. Chaos at the Qi clan. On the higher floors, people were a lot stronger. Lin Feng also released more powerful fire energies, but he still drew some people's attention. They had never seen him before, but he was so strong. When Lin Feng arrived at the top of the tower, there were only 4 people, each in a corner of the room. Their eyes were closed, and they were bathing in flames. 3 cultivators of the 8th Zunqi layer and 1 of the 9th, thought Lin Feng. Killing those people silently would be impossible. Those people were meditating. The Qi clan had one rule too, such that it was forbidden to fight in the towers, otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to come back to the towers. Nobody liked being disturbed while practicing cultivation, therefore, silence was mandatory. He went back to the flight of stairs again where there were cultivators of the 7th and 6th Zun Qi layer. There was something like 7 to 8 people there studying fire energy. 6th and 7th Zun Qi layers, thought Lin Feng glancing around. Then he walked over to someone. That person opened their eyes and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng immediately stared back at him and released death-cursing energies. That person's soul shook, and he instantly lost his determination. That cultivator of the 6th Zun Qi layer didn't stand a chance. After that, Lin Feng walked to the second cultivator of the 6th Zun Qi layer and sat down opposite him. He poked that person, who then opened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng in a cold way, but Lin Feng released death energy from his eyes and grabbed his throat. That person's mouth was open, but he couldn't move. Only some choking sounds could be heard, but nobody paid attention to that. After that, to the third person, Lin Feng did the same, and then the fourth. But when Lin Feng had killed the 5th cultivator, someone else opened their eyes having sensed danger. Lin Feng moved like the wind and quickly beheaded that person with sword qi. The others opened their eyes too, but as soon as they opened their eyes, they died instantly. Lin Feng was too fast. Nobody heard or sensed anything on the floors above or below. Lin Feng glanced at them and went down the stairs again. People were still practicing cultivation, and nobody had sensed any danger. Very quickly, Lin Feng killed everyone on the floor below. They were weaker, so it was easier for Lin Feng to curse them. In a temple inside the Qi clan, 2 old men opened their eyes. "What time is it?" asked one of the old men. "It's time, let's go and see," replied the other one. The Qi clan had a rule. Some members of the Qi clan were chosen to check the temple regularly to see if everyone was still alive. "Why would we? Nothing could have possibly happened anyways," said the other old man nonchalantly. There was a list of names at the back of the temple, a list of names connected to the cultivators' souls. Without that list, it would have been difficult for the Qi clan to know how many people there were and so on. It was of the utmost importance for maintain the organization of the clan. One of the old men walked to the list and looked at the names. But suddenly he looked alarmed. "Oh no!" shouted the old man loudly. So many soul plates had broken. They weren't broken just 2 hours ago. Slash, slash, slash. Some soul names continued breaking before their eyes. The 2 old men were suddenly covered with a cold sweat. Something serious was going on. "Someone is killing our people inside our own territory." The 2 old men were dumbstruck. They immediately went outside to sound an alarm. They were moving as fast as they could, and they were making extremely loud sounds as they ran. Many people suddenly got nervous and stopped practicing cultivation. What was going on? That's the alarm, the most serious one. But it hasn't happened for so many years. The crowd was terrified. Someone dared attack the Qi clan by surprise. But who? "Who came to the Qi clan?" shouted an extremely loud voice. Lin Feng had just finished killing everyone on the first floor when he heard that voice. He had probably only killed 100 people so far, yet he had been noticed. What he didn't know was that the Qi clan hadn't lost so many people in a very long time. In 2 hours, more than 200 of their strongest cultivators had died. Those from the top of the tower came down and saw that everybody was dead. Then, on the first floor, they came across Lin Feng. Since they were still surprised, Lin Feng used his Xana sword attack and released death-cursing energies at the same time. The 2 cultivators of the 8th Zun Qi layer didn't have time to react and died. "Who are you?" The 2 others released terrifying energies, fire filling the room. "Die," said Lin Feng as he moved like the wind while releasing sword energies. The last cultivator of the 8th Zun Qi layer died with that attack. Now, only the cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer remained. Boom! The cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer punched the air and his fire punch ignited outside, not aiming for Lin Feng. That cultivator wanted to warn people outside the tower before dealing with Lin Feng. "The enemies are in the tower," shouted someone furiously. People from all directions ran towards the tower. "Die! Death-cursing energies surrounded the cultivator. Piss off! A fireman appeared behind him, looking like a fire god. Lin Feng used his desolate Xana attack again. That cultivator's hand turned into an ancient imprint. At the same time, the fire was destroyed by sword energies. Slash! Sword lights filled the tower. The cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer was quickly surrounded by immortal sword energies. He raised his head and his face turned deathly pale. He wanted to use his full strength to resist the energies but had failed. Over there, some strong cultivators rushed over. Lin Feng smiled coldly. His sword streaked across the sky and lacerated the group of people. They still had desperate facial expressions after they died. Lin Feng moved like the wind and disappeared into the night. He didn't want people to see him, so even if he could easily kill those people, it was better not to waste time. Lin Feng quickly put on some white clothes and hid in the middle of a crowd. Where are the enemies? Some people were heading in Lin Feng direction as fast as they could. Perfect! Lin Feng moved like the wind, and then lacerated them one after the other. The Qi clan was huge, so Lin Feng could kill people in every corner. Shouldn't we inform Emperor Qi and the respectable elder? Asked someone at that moment. Emperor Qi left today, how can we inform him? Said a strong cultivator pulling a long face. But we're talking about Lin Feng. So what? Activate the Great Protection Spell, said that person. Since Lin Feng had come, he had to die. Chapter 1466. Kill Lin Feng. Activate the protection spell, shouted some people. Lin Feng watched a group of people move down to the ground while yelling that, so he frowned. The Great Protection Spell? Then, dazzling lights suddenly appeared, illuminating the entire territory. It's the Great Celestial Protection Spell, thought some people who still didn't understand what was going on. How long had it been since the Qi clan used the protection spell? Someone dared attack the Qi clan, but who? Thought some others. What a terrifying strength, thought Lin Feng. The Qi clan was gradually being filled with golden energies. Besides, everybody was illuminated, so if he killed anyone, everybody would see him. Everybody stop. Apart from the patrollers, nobody can move. If anyone disobeys, they'll die, shouted someone furiously. Then, everybody stopped moving. What an impressive organization, thought Lin Feng. The patrollers inspected the surroundings first, then they inspected the crowd in the sky. Lin Feng was there, but he wasn't moving though. They'll find me, thought Lin Feng. If he moved, he'd die though. The protection spell could also illuminate people who were hiding, so he couldn't hide if he wanted to. Even using his spirit was useless with that protection spell up. Lin Feng finally decided not to move and wait patiently. Finally, the patrollers arrived near him. The leader of the patrollers was a cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer. Turn around, shouted the strong cultivator to Lin Feng. Lin Feng slowly turned around. Those people frowned. I've never seen you. Which branch are you from? Who are your parents? Asked the patroller. He didn't ask Lin Feng for his name because it was too easy to make up a name. Instead, he checked his background, which was more difficult to make up. How dare you talk to me that way, said Lin Feng. He slowly turned back around and walked towards that guy. The crowd frowned. I'm Lin Feng, said Lin Feng, and then his scepter appeared, and he released cursing energies. At the same time, he released sword energies with his other hand. Be careful. When Lin Feng said his name, everybody released a terrifying qi, but Lin Feng's cursing energies made them stop in their tracks. Many people immediately exploded under his strength. The patrollers were either drenched in a cold sweat or were lying dead on the ground. Lin Feng. That person was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. Without a doubt, that was Lin Feng. His sword was terrifying. Apart from Emperor Wu Tianjian, only one person had a sword with so many energies condensed inside. Lin Feng. Die. Lin Feng released an infinite amount of demon qi. Ruo Xie and Lin Feng had already killed over 200 people, including inside the tower. The Qi clan had existed for 10,000 years, but this was one of their greatest tragedies. Great protection spell, lock. Shouted the strong cultivator rising in the air. Death. Lin Feng released sword and immortal energies. However, the chief patroller used his empty space agility technique dodge. Then, empty space punches appeared behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng released sword energies and destroyed them. At the same time, he released terrifying demon intent and his Tianji sword shot out from his body. It immediately cut off that person's head. A gigantic picture scroll appeared in the sky and turned into a cage surrounding Lin Feng, just after he killed the strong cultivator. Bzz. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered. However, he found that the picture scroll threads were following him. His body became even more dazzling, so now everybody could see him. Break! Lin Feng's sword lacerated the space around him, but it didn't work. It seemed like he was in an illusion and whatever he did, the picture scroll would follow him. People quickly surrounded Lin Feng, trapping him. They were all medium-level Zun cultivators or higher. The weakest cultivator around him had broken through to the 6th Zun Qi layer. There were hundreds of people even. The Qi clan had existed for such a long time, so it was no surprise that they had so many extremely strong cultivators. Arg, demon energies rolled in waves. Lin Feng condensed energies which turned into a demon. Surprising the crowd, a gigantic demon appeared behind Lin Feng's back holding a gigantic axe. As soon as he formed, he threw himself at the crowd. The gigantic axe contained cosmic energies, creating fissures in the sky when it attacked, instantly killing some people. That demon is not affected by the empty space, thought Lin Feng. He then released sword intent. Empty space lock, shouted the patroller. Lin Feng and people around him were stuck in the empty space with him. Enlightenment, shouted the strong cultivator again while condensing terrifying energies. The Qi clan's own people were illuminated by dazzling lights. What a terrifying protection spell! It connects all the cultivators of the Qi clan together, thought Lin Feng. He condensed sword energies all around him. He didn't chase anyone. Instead, he condensed immortal Qi and sword intent. Celestial death, shouted the chief patroller coldly. The strong cultivators from the Qi clan condensed their energies together and a gigantic sword appeared in the sky. Die! Suddenly, terrifying lights illuminated those people. It was Ruoxie with his own terrifying sword. Some people collapsed and fell down from the sky. Those people's target was Lin Feng, so nobody had noticed Ruoxie. There's someone else. The Qi clan's people realized there was someone else with Lin Feng. It's Ruoxie from Tiantai, shouted someone who recognized him. Die! A fist moved towards Ruoxie. Slow, shouted Ruoxie furiously. The fist then slowed down. Decay, shouted Ruoxie again. The entire crowd around him started growing old. Arg! The demon killed someone else with the gigantic axe at that moment. Lin Feng continued condensing sword and immortal energies. The strong cultivator looked at Ruoxie and the demon, then he shouted, Die! Die, 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 die. That voice resonated far away in the distance. Go, go! Sword energies emerged from Lin Feng's hands and collided with all the other energies aimed at them. At the same time, he continued condensing more sword energies in his hands. Arg! His demon continued attacking people with his gigantic axe. Chapter 1467. Cursing Myself. The demon was soon destroyed, and the axe moved back to Lin Feng. His immortal swords was struggling to deal with all those cultivators as well. Slash. Lin Feng released more sword energies. At the same time, gigantic silver wings appeared from his back. They were a few dozen meters long. Lin Feng wrapped himself up in them. Die! Shouted a few strong cultivators of the Qi clan. Slow! Shouted Ruoxie furiously. Everything slowed down around them again. The sword attack slowed down and then Ruoxie released sword energies again while condensing acceleration energy. His sword collided with the sword which had been slowed. Even though he knew he couldn't destroy it, he used his full strength to weaken it a lot. At least, Lin Feng had less chances to die that way. The sword in the sky slowed down for a few seconds but picked up some speed again towards Lin Feng and destroyed his sword. It also destroyed Ruoxie's sword and then crashed onto Lin Feng's wings with a loud crunch. Lin Feng opened his silver wings and found that there was a hole in one of them. Then, the wound became larger as the terrifying sword pierced through his wings again. Lin Feng condensed some immortal energies into his wings, then he released sword and immortal energies together again. "Break!" shouted Lin Feng. He was furious but tired. His whole body became a sword filled with immortal energies before he threw himself at the gigantic sword. Boom boom! A hurricane of terrifying energies swept the crowd. Some people even exploded and died. A loud metallic ringing sound hung in the air for a few seconds before the gigantic sword of the Qi clan slowly turned into an illusion and dispersed. Lin Feng had also turned back into his own self, though he was panting with exhaustion. At that moment, the Qi clan's people were even more horrified by Lin Feng. The sword of their clan was incredible and yet it still failed. "Die!" shouted Ruoxie. He moved using speed abstruse energy and killed another cultivator. "Kill Lin Feng first, he has run out of energies," shouted someone. It was the chief patroller. Lin Feng's Demon King had been destroyed by the sword and then he had condensed so much energy to break the Qi clan sword. Now was the perfect time to kill him. Bzz. Many people threw themselves at Lin Feng while releasing empty space energies. Lin Feng was surrounded once again. "Death curse!" shouted Lin Feng, taking out his scepter. Everybody was surprised by his strength. They had the feeling that they were going to die. Bzz. Lin Feng threw his scepter in the air and it turned into a gigantic, ancient-looking tree. "Ruoxie, brother, go and lacerate the empty space around us." "Leave them to me," said Lin Feng. He sounded a lot like Demon. Ruoxie was surprised by Lin Feng's voice but nodded. His silhouette flickered, and he jumped into the empty space lights. He had to break the empty space which had trapped them, otherwise, if Emperor Qi came back, they wouldn't be able to escape. "How can you be so confident?" There were still too many strong cultivators in the empty space. Lin Feng was suggesting that he was going to kill them, but how could he be so sure? "Curse!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. In a flash, his gigantic ancient cursing tree released a terrifying amount of cursing energies which surrounded his own body. He cursed himself, but why? The crowd was astonished. Some marks appeared while his ancient tree looked even more like an illusion. There's something wrong. The tree is integrating itself with his body. He's probably turning into a curse himself, thought some of the strong cultivators. He was cursing himself, so nobody naturally wanted to touch him. "Kill him." A cultivator of the 7th Zun Qi layer condensed a black fire and attacked Lin Feng from behind. Lin Feng suddenly turned around and looked at him with his cold eyes. That person instantly turned gray and looked hopeless. "Kill him," shouted Lin Feng to that cultivator. He listened to Lin Feng and threw himself at some other members of the Qi clan. Lin Feng raised his head and swallowed the ancient cursing tree. It was completely absorbed by his body now. From that moment on, Lin Feng didn't have the scepter anymore. Instead, he was the scepter. "Die." Lin Feng glanced at someone next to him. That person looked scared but then collapsed, dead. Lin Feng could glance at people and kill them instantly now. Bzz. Someone else threw themselves at Lin Feng. Lin Feng turned around and looked them in the eye. That person wanted to kill Lin Feng, but they stopped immediately. Their face turned gray and he collapsed. He was dead as well. The other strong cultivators were a bit perplexed. What to do? Lin Feng's cursing energies were becoming more powerful the longer they waited. "Use the Great Protection again," shouted someone. They joined hands and dazzling lights appeared again as well as the picture scroll. Lin Feng's began to run forward, but someone's silhouette flickered in front of him. No matter, that person's life was drained out and he died on the spot. Someone else wanted to attack, but Lin Feng released more cursing qi and killed them. At that moment, Ruoxie was releasing twinkling marks which were intertwining together. They condensed into a pattern. Its qi wasn't that powerful, but Ruoxie wasn't in a rush, so he continued carving marks in the air. He needed time to destroy the sealed space. People from outside the empty space could only watch as all those corpses fell from the sky. They were massacring all those Zun cultivators. Apart from the people Emperor Qi had brought to the wedding, those people were the strongest cultivators of the Qi clan. We must inform Emperor Qi, thought the crowd. If they didn't inform Emperor Qi, the Qi clan would be in danger. Slash, slash. Two sounds sounded in Lin Feng and Ruoxie's minds. A special qi surrounded their bodies as the memory Qing Tian had put in them was broken. That meant that Emperor Qi was coming back. Lin Feng, let's get ready to leave, shouted Ruoxie. Two more corpses fell down from the sky. Lin Feng knew they had to leave, so they couldn't waste time. Emperor Qi was fast, so he'd arrive soon. If they didn't hurry, he could easily kill them. Chapter 1468. Difficulties for the Qi clan. Stop him, use the celestial death attack, shouted the patroller furiously. This travesty was starting to look like a joke. So many powerful Zun cultivators, a protection spell, and their terrifying sword were all paling to just two Zun cultivators. Die! Lin Feng moved like the wind. A cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer landed in front of him, but an ocean of cursing energies surrounded him. Lin Feng's death qi made him feel like suffocating. At the same time, but he continued condensing energies above. Even if Lin Feng had killed so many people already, those who remained sufficed to condense enough energies for the Great Protection spell. Piss off! That person released empty space energies and released his spirit. Kill him, shouted Lin Feng. In a flash, several people threw themselves at that cultivator. Those who had already died were now obeying Lin Feng's orders. That strong cultivator was furious and upset that his friends were attacking him. He released empty space energies, but it was not efficient because they were already dead. Die, said Lin Feng. He threw himself towards the opponent. You must want to die, shouted that cultivator furiously. He released qi, but his qi dispersed after the cursing energies arrived near him. His life was drained out and his face turned gray. Then Lin Feng condensed sword energies in his hands and beheaded the guy. At the same time, the gigantic sword of the Qi clan stopped condensing and had disappeared. That cultivator stood as the core of the spell, which meant that after he died, the spell fell apart. Let's go, shouted Ruoxie, punching the empty space surrounding them. His holy marks lit up and the light curtain opened itself. A hole appeared, allowing Ruoxie to jump through it. Lin Feng, shouted Ruoxie. Lin Feng had continued killing people instead of following him. Go, said Lin Feng while running towards Ruoxie. The Qi clan didn't want to stop Lin Feng anymore. They knew they weren't strong enough. The Great Protection spell was still working, but Lin Feng and Ruoxie weren't inside anymore. Suddenly, a terrifying pressure oppressed the entire territory of the Qi clan. Everything became illusionary as a silhouette appeared in the sky. Emperor Qi. All the cultivators of the Qi clan were elated. Emperor Qi had come back, but Lin Feng and Ruoxie had just left. They seemingly knew the emperor was coming back. Emperor Qi was with Qi Qianxing. However, all they saw were corpses, hundreds of corpses in fact. It was as if all the Zun cultivators were killed. Who did this? Screamed Emperor Qi. The crowd was horrified. Their lives were in Emperor Qi's hands, so if he was furious, he could kill them all. Lin Feng from Tiantai as well as Ruoxie, said someone in a low voice. Suddenly, a terrifying energy surrounded those people. Lin Feng. Qi Qianxing condensed strength which rose to the skies. Back then, he hadn't managed to kill Lin Feng and now the Qi clan had lost face. They were a joke. Now, the whole city knows about this. In just 2 days, this news could spread all around Bahuang and even to the Qi Empire. Thought Qi Qianxing. Not only hadn't they managed to kill Lin Feng, but they had used the Great Protection spell at night so everyone in Shuri City knew about it. How did they know I wasn't here? Find out why, yelled Emperor Qi. How come Lin Feng and Ruoxie knew he was away? It seemed like someone had told them. Also, how did Lin Feng know Emperor Qi had come back? In eastern Bahuang, powerful cursing energies were creeping outside a cave, which was hidden inside a mountain range. Ruoxie was sitting outside the cave, cross-legged, on a gigantic stone. He opened his eyes and looked at the cave. In a few days, Qi Yan's actual wedding ceremony will start. I hope we can catch up with them, whispered Ruoxie. After Lin Feng and Ruoxie had left the Qi clan, they immediately hid themselves. Emperor Qi had been looking for them in Shuri City, but they had hidden themselves in the Jade Emperor's palace. After that, they made their way to that mountain range and Lin Feng had non-stop practiced cultivation. He still had cursing energies corroding inside his body. Even though the scepter fusion had allowed him to display amazing powers, he might have to keep those cursing energies in his body forever. At that moment, Ruoxie frowned. He saw some cursing qi coming out of the cave which then turned into several whirlwinds. Besides, that qi was getting stronger. After the last whirlwind disappeared, Ruoxie couldn't sense the cursing qi again. Finally, Lin Feng came out. "Are you alright?" asked Ruoxie smiling at Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't have cursing qi surrounding his body anymore. He looked normal again. "Yes," said Lin Feng nodding. Finally, he had managed to modify the cursing strength in his body and had swallowed it completely. Now he could use it for himself without any consequences. It was part of his energies. He had lost his scepter, but at least his cursing strength had become stronger. "Since you're all right now, let's go," said Ruoxie jumping off the big stone. Then he smiled at Lin Feng and said, "Qi Yan's wedding ceremony is going to be great. Incredible people from all over Ba Huang and Jiu Yu will be attending. We'll have some fun. What if Emperor Qi sees us? He'll kill us on the spot," said Lin Feng. Ruoxie was insane. Emperor Dong invited many geniuses. Even the messenger was invited. That day will be Qi Yan's wedding, so do you think Emperor Qi will attack people there? He killed some of our disciples too, so we just avenged them, said Ruoxie. Maybe Qi Qianxing will attack us then, said Lin Feng smiling indifferently. If Qi Qianxing said he wanted to avenge the Qi clan's people's death, nobody would say anything against him. Qi Qianxing wasn't an emperor, so he didn't need to respect cultivation emperor's rules. And on top of that, Tiantai still has some people, said Ruoxie shrugging and smiling. Qi Yan's wedding ceremony would be similar to the meeting of the emperors in that many geniuses were going to gather there. Chapter 1469. The Qi Empire. The Qi Empire was one of the largest empires in Jiu Yu. In Ba Huang province, few people knew that the leader of the Qi Empire and the emperor of the Qi clan belonged to the same family. Only those who had a high social status knew that. Even the Wen clan and the Si Kong clan had deep connections to Jiu Yu, just like the Qi clan. Some people like Lin Feng who gained strength and recognition in Ba Huang had learnt about those things though. And the more they learned about those things, it seemed like there were even more secrets behind the scenes. The more they learnt, the less they knew. Ba Huang province and Jiu Yu were already very mysterious for most people, so what about the holy city? In the imperial city of the Qi Empire, there was a flight of stairs with many, many steps. There were 10,000 steps in total. Ordinary people would need a long time to go up them. From the top, they could the spectacular landscapes of the imperial city, making them feel like they were flying. At that moment, many people were flying over that flight of stairs. At the top of the stairs, there were soldiers adorning dazzling armors. Those guards looked majestic and domineering, and everyone had to go through them to enter the city. Except, members of the imperial city of the Qi Empire could fly over and directly into the city. Even the strong cultivators from the Ba Huang province had to go through the guards. But at that moment, someone flew into the city, seemingly violating the rules. Many people raised their heads. They were astonished because they recognized who it was. It was a young man who had become very famous in the Ba Huang province. Some people even compared him to Lin Feng. Even though many people had never seen him, they had, at least, all heard about him. Xia Tianfan. Surprisingly, he flies into the city, violating the Qi Empire's rules. Thought some people sighing. Xia Tianfan was insane. Xia Tianfan's name is Xia, so he doesn't belong to the Qi clan. He's not an emperor either. Does he think he's strong enough to ignore Emperor Dong's rules? Thought the crowd. Nobody stopped Xia Tianfan and the guards ignored him as if Xia Tianfan had done nothing wrong. He suddenly appeared in Ba Huang. His social status is mysterious, and he's incredibly strong. What is his background exactly? Xia Tianfan's social status has to be incredible, thought some people. More people are flying as well. Who are those now? Thought the crowd again. Some people were smiling indifferently and flying into the city behind him. The one in white clothes looks unfathomable. I only have that feeling when I see my teacher, thought someone. That's the messenger. Some people who had made it out of the ancient battlefield alive recognized the messenger instantly. Surprisingly, he had come, but he was with some young men. Who were those people? They were all Zun cultivators. Some of them were even cultivators at the top of the Zun-Chi layer. Those young men who were laughing and talking to him as if he were a friend. Just like my teacher said, after the meeting of the emperors, Ba Huang and Jiao, you have changed a lot, someone thought. Then, they saw the guards suddenly rise up in the air and bow before those people. Your Highness the messenger. The messenger smiled and waved, then he continued moving forwards. He was satisfied. People from the Qi Empire showed him respect when they saw him, which meant that Emperor Dong must also be nice. After that, more people continued arriving. At that moment, the crowd was astonished when they saw Emperor Yu, the leader of Tiantai who had vanished for some time now. He was going to participate at the wedding ceremony as well. Today, all the emperors and the messenger are here. Even though Emperor Dong doesn't like Emperor Yu, he's probably not going to fight Emperor Yu on the wedding day. There might be some tensions though, thought the crowd. Do you think Lin Feng will come today? Asked someone. I don't think so. If Lin Feng comes, the Qi clan will find a way to kill him. The Qi clan hates Lin Feng more than anything after all, replied someone else. I don't think he'll come because it is too dangerous. Lin Feng is insane, how can you be so sure? Said someone laughing at that moment. That guy was precisely when Tiangun when Ao Shui. Chapter 1470. Breaking rules. The doors at the top of the flight of stairs looked like doors to heaven. When Tiangun when Ao Shui arrived at the gate and smiled indifferently. When Tiangu just said indifferently, such grandeur architecture, they're quite the ambitious bunch. The one next to Wen Tiangu didn't understand. What did he mean? Outside, in the gardens, there were tables set up with food and drinks. At the top of the flight of stairs, one could smell the food and alcohol wafting over. The buildings were white and beautiful, majestic and lofty. The Qi Empire was proud of themselves and their buildings. Their buildings were even better than the Qi clans in the Ba Huang province. Your Highness the messenger. Emperor Dong rushed over to the messenger after he saw him. He came to greet him himself. He was smiling wholeheartedly. Emperor Dong, congratulations, said the messenger smiling and nodding. Thank you very much, Your Highness the messenger. Come, have a seat, said Emperor Dong politely. Then he smiled at the young men who were with the messenger and said, those young men must be from the Gu clan. They all look outstanding. You're too kind, said the young men smiling. But Emperor Dong smiled coldly. Surprisingly, those young men were very arrogant and impolite. Of course, even though he thought that way, he didn't show his anger. He just showed them where to sit. Thank you everyone for coming, said Emperor Dong to the emperors while showing them their seats. They didn't sit together though, they were still waiting for their disciples. Emperor Dong welcomed the emperors himself. Emperor Qi also helped. Qi Qianxing didn't come though. He didn't dare come, he couldn't take the risk after what Lin Feng had done to his clan recently. Very quickly, people from all over Ba Huang and Jiao Yu all arrived and gathered with their friends. Even as Emperor Yu arrived, Emperor Qi welcomed him warmly. Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi arrived as well. Some people saw two people move towards Emperor Yu. Tiantai's direct disciples, Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi. Ho Qing Lin has broken through to the 9th Zun-Chi layer. How terrifying! He'll soon become a cultivation emperor. He's so close to becoming one now, thought the crowd. Many people were stuck at the 9th Zun-Chi layer or couldn't even reach the top of the Zun-Chi layer. Nobody doubted that Ho Qing Lin was going to break through to the Huang-Chi layer though. Bzz. At that moment, dazzling lights appeared in the sky. It was a gigantic bird, and there was another bird next to him who was a bit smaller. Emperor Peng and the little bird Emperor arrived. The crowd saw two birds. They were both great oriental greenfinch rocks. They're really obstinate and unruly, thought everybody. Those days, people were used to calling Mo Peng the little emperor. Last time, the emperor had been bullied by Lin Feng. Since then, Mo Peng had broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer as Emperor Peng continued helping him practice cultivation. He wanted him to break through to the Huangqi layer. Emperor Peng, the little emperor, come here and have a seat, said Emperor Qi indifferently. Even though he smiled coldly on the inside, he remained polite. The great oriental greenfinch rock was different from the others. Bzz. Waves of qi rolled in the sky behind Emperor Peng. The crowd was astonished. He was there. Emperor Qi was astonished as well. He felt like he was going to explode with anger. Emperor Yu smiled happily though. Lin Feng and Ruoxie had made it. Caw. Mo Peng cawed furiously. He was surrounded by golden qi as he instantly threw himself at Lin Feng. He hated Lin Feng more than anything else because he had made him suffer so much. Even when he had an imperial weapon, Lin Feng had made him suffer. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. He didn't even glance at the bird. Emperor Yu, Emperor Wen and Emperor Devamara were all there, so no emperor could attack him. Besides, those who had violated the rules might suffer severe consequences. Those who aren't emperors have to go through the gate, they can't fly into the city. Who do you think you are? Who are you? Said a guard who knew who Lin Feng was. Are you blind? Replied Lin Feng indifferently. Lin Feng pointed at Mo Peng and said indifferently, Is he an emperor? Ruoxie groaned coldly and said, It's a wedding today and everybody has been invited. We came, so it's already an honor for the Qi clan. If the Qi clan wants guests, why impose such rules, especially if not everybody respects them? Do you want to imply that some geniuses are less important than others? The guard looked at Ruoxie. Ruoxie was talking with everybody in mind. He's a great oriental greenfinch rock, replied the guard. He seemed a little unsure of himself. What you mean to say is that great oriental greenfinch rocks are more important than anyone else. Then, you should have only invited the great oriental greenfinch rocks and that's it. Why do you invite everyone else? Replied Ruoxie. The guard was speechless. The birds looked furious too. Great oriental greenfinch rock's social status is obviously higher than ordinary people's, replied the bird. He didn't dare offend everybody, so he only talked about ordinary people. Is that so? Strength is the most important thing in the cultivation world. I am at the top of the 6th Zunqi layer, so I'll fight against him, a battle to death with no imperial intervention, nor imperial weapons. We'll see then. Does Emperor Peng agree? Asked Lin Feng, looking at Emperor Peng. The emperor was incredulous. What an arrogant guy. A battle to the death, thought the crowd. Mo Peng probably didn't want to because Lin Feng wasn't an ordinary person. If you kill me, it'll prove that your social status is higher than mine. If I die, then I deserve it. I'll probably die so Emperor Peng doesn't need to act so polite. Don't worry yourself, Mo Peng, let's fight, said Lin Feng smiling indifferently. Emperor Peng groaned coldly. The birds didn't look as arrogant as before. Today is a wedding ceremony, so don't worry about the rules, said Emperor Qi indifferently glancing at Lin Feng. Lin Feng and Ruoxie continued flying. They didn't even glance at Emperor Qi as they flew overhead. Chapter 1471. Qi Yan's wife, Lin Feng, Ruoxie. Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi smiled at Lin Feng and Ruoxie and said, You did a good job. Lin Feng shrugged. He knew what he meant. They were talking about the massacre at the Qi clan. The Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle had killed many people from Tiantai, so it was very warranted. Lin Feng and Ruoxie had slaughtered people from the Qi clan in their own territory. That was an incredible humiliation. After what happened at the Qi clan, Tianlong Divine Castles, people stopped killing people from Tiantai and they became much more discreet. The Qi Empire seems even more powerful and larger than the Qi clan though. Lin Feng had glanced around. There were many people, all of whom were incredible and heroic warriors. The Qi clan is powerful. They wouldn't give up a territory which has a shrine. Many years ago, the Qi clan took over this land, but in the past this place wasn't called the Qi Empire, explained Emperor Yu. Lin Feng nodded. The Ice Emperor and the Snow Leader ruled over the Ice and Snow Empire. Being an emperor was suffice to take over an empire sometimes. The Qi clan was powerful because they had a medium-level emperor. At that moment, Lin Feng sensed some sharp lights. He turned around and saw the two princes from Tianlong Divine Castle as well as Jinggu arriving. If the first and second prince of Tianlong Divine Castle and Jinggu died, Tianlong Divine Castle would have no proper descendants left. Lin Feng took a glass of alcohol. He raised it up and smiled at Emperor Tianlong indifferently. Emperor Tianlong groaned coldly and ignored Lin Feng. He stood up, with his glass in hand, and went to another table, the one at which the messenger was sitting. Lin Feng smiled in a cold way and slowly downed his drink. He was staring at the table where the messenger was. Many people raised their glasses at the messenger as a sign of respect. His seat was higher up than everyone else's since he had a higher social status. He also raised his glass and smiled at people who were cheering with him. However, he looked indifferent. "The messenger must be a medium-level emperor," whispered Lin Feng. Emperor Yu nodded. "Indeed, he's a medium-level emperor, but his position is a bit special." The messenger controlled the road which led to the holy city. He also managed the ancient battlefield of the Huangxi. He alone could determine some rules. "Let's go and have a drink with the messenger," said Emperor Yu to Lin Feng and the others. Then they all walked towards the messenger. The messenger was sitting with some extraordinary and heroic, yet arrogant, young men. They must all be from the holy city, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng noticed that some of the young men looked arrogant while some of them didn't. They just looked indifferent. "Your Highness the messenger, my disciples and I raise our glasses in your honor," said Emperor Yu politely. "You're too kind, Emperor Yu," said the messenger while still smiling indifferently. He also raised his glass and even bumped his glass against Emperor Yu's glass. He didn't look arrogant at all, he looked indifferent and friendly. "You're Lin Feng," said a young man at that moment. "That's me indeed," said Lin Feng nodding to them. "I've heard about the geniuses of the Ba Huang province, including you, Lin Feng. If we have the opportunity today, I'd like to fight against you," said the young man, smiling and raising his glass. He didn't stand up though, he remained seated. "If we do have the opportunity, I'd be happy to," said Lin Feng smiling. However, he didn't raise his glass. Then, Emperor Yu and the others turned around and walked away. The young man looked angry as Lin Feng walked away. "How disrespectful," said a young man on his side. "If he knew your social status, he wouldn't dare be disrespectful," said another one in a calm and serene way. The young man smiled and didn't say anything else. He just glanced at Lin Feng from time to time. "Those young men must be from the holy city if they can stay with the messenger," whispered Ho Qing Lin. "I guess so," said Emperor Yu smiling in an uncaring way. Lin Feng smiled indifferently, he didn't care either. That young man had remained seated whilst raising his glass, which was a sign of disrespect, so Lin Feng didn't raise his glass in return. Emperor Tianlong stayed with Emperor Qi the entire time. It was as if he wanted to show off how great he was because he knew Emperor Qi. Many people despised him for that but said nothing. After all, it was the Qi clan's event. "Emperor Yu, what do you think?" asked some people at that moment. "Emperor Wen Tianguan Wen Ao Shui." "Emperor Wen, please sit down," said Emperor Yu politely. Then he looked at Emperor Tianlong and said indifferently, "He knows Tianlong is falling, so of course he's not happy. We can't blame him. After all, he lost so much already, he won't be able to rise up again anytime soon," said Emperor Wen. He talked loudly though, loudly enough that the two princes from Tianlong Divine Castle looked at him in a cold way. They knew that their father didn't want to follow Emperor Qi like a dog, but he had no choice. Without Tiantai, they wouldn't have had such problems. Now, if Tiantai didn't completely disappear, they would suffer, perhaps even disappearing themselves. "By the way, do you know who Qi Yan's new bride is?" asked Emperor when smiling at Emperor Yu. The Qi clan didn't give any hint. "Do you know already?" asked Emperor Yu. Qi Yan was Emperor Dong's son, so his wife had to be outstanding. But still, the Qi clan didn't say who she was. "We'll know soon enough," said Emperor when smiling. He was curious. Everybody was. Emperor Devamara and some strong cultivators from the Devamara palace went and sat down next to Emperor Yu and the others as well. Many people were chatting and enjoying themselves. At that moment, a gong resonated. At the same time, in the distance, a golden crow with 9 heads was pulling a golden carriage which shined like the sun. Emperor Dong and Emperor Qi looked at the carriage and smiled. Many soldiers rose up in the air and opened the way for them. The door of the carriage opened itself and someone came out, Emperor Dong's son, Qi Yen. Qi Yen stretched out his hand and a slender white arm appeared. With the sun shining upon that arm, it looked even more beautiful. Who is she? Thought some people. A silhouette gradually appeared in people's field of vision. She seemed so beautiful. She's perfect for Qi Yen, what a perfect match, thought some people. However, many people from the Ba Huang province were astonished because they recognized her. Lin Feng frowned, he was surprised, how could it be her? Chapter 1472, Doubts. Qi Yen held her hand. She was one of the 4 most beautiful women of Ba Huang province. How could the celestial land of alchemists join hands with the Qi clan? Thought the crowd. That beautiful woman was Shui Bai Yao. Lin Feng was astonished. There had been a misunderstanding between them, but in the end, they were not enemies. She had even given Lin Feng the pill Meng Qi needed to turn back into a human being. However, Qi Yen was a member of the Qi clan, so they were enemies. Lin Feng wasn't happy to see her with Qi Yen. Of course, that was her choice, so Lin Feng couldn't get involved. Lin Feng hated the Qi clan, so he hated Qi Yen too. Shui Bai Yao wasn't his enemy though. Qi Yen was a great cultivator, his father was Emperor Dong, and he was a genius in the Qi Empire of Jiuyu. Lin Feng could understand why a woman would want to be in a relationship with him. How disappointing. Surprisingly, the celestial land of alchemists is just like Tianlong Divine Castle, said Emperor Yu sighing. He was even angrier than Lin Feng. Is that an alliance through marriage? Whispered Lin Feng. Both had a special social status. One was Emperor Dong's son while the other was the holy girl of the celestial land of alchemists. They were both supported by influential imperial groups, so it was easy to imagine that it was an alliance. Some people were still in love with Shui Bai Yao in the crowd, so they looked disappointed. I don't think Qi Yen and Shui Bai Yao could possibly be in love, said Ho Qing Lin frowning. She doesn't look happy. Lin Feng frowned. He was gazing into Shui Bai Yao's eyes. It was her wedding, so she should have been happy if they loved each other, but instead she looked very unhappy. She walked forwards only when Qi Yen tugged on her. Indeed, it doesn't look good, said Tian Qi. Tian Qi was a Buddhist, he understood people's emotions. But in any case, most people who knew Shui Bai Yao could see that she wasn't happy. She has no choice, said Emperor Yu indifferently. The bride and the groom walked on the main road as the dazzling suns shone upon them. Qi Yen, Yu and Bai Yao, raise your glasses for the emperors, said Emperor Dong, smiling at Qi Yen. All right, father, said Qi Yen nodding. Then he took Shui Bai Yao to the messenger and smiled. Your Highness the messenger, thank you for coming. It's an honor to see you here. I raise my glass in your honor. You're too kind. Your wife is beautiful. You're a good match, said the messenger smiling politely. The messenger still hadn't stood up though. Please make yourself at home, and please forgive me if I've forgotten anything, said Qi Yen politely. Then he raised his glass and cheered with the other young men. Qi Yen wasn't happy though because none of them stood up with him. Besides, they didn't look at him, they mostly looked at Shui Bai Yao. But Qi Yen remained calm and went to each table, cheering with all the emperors. Some of them stood up to give Qi Yen face, while some remained seated. Emperor Dong smiled indifferently and observed the people, especially how they behaved when they faced Qi Yen. When Qi Yen arrived near Emperor Yu's table, he just smiled at them and his disciples in a cold way. Then he continued walking without stopping. The Qi Empire and the Qi clan both hated Tiantai, so Qi Yen didn't need to give them face. Shui Bai Yao looked at Lin Feng in a meaningful way, as if she wanted to tell him something, but then followed Qi Yen. Wait, said Lin Feng indifferently. Qi Yen and Shui Bai Yao stopped and turned around. Lin Feng stood up and looked at Shui Bai Yao. Shui Bai Yao frowned and stared back at Lin Feng. Celestial girl, we're friends, aren't we? Said Lin Feng to Shui Bai Yao. Let's go, said Qi Yen pulling Shui Bai Yao's hand. Shui Baiyao was being dragged by Qi Yan, but she still didn't turn around. She continued looking at Lin Feng. "Qi Yan!" shouted Lin Feng. Qi Yan turned around and looked at Lin Feng coldly. "Lin Feng, this is my wedding ceremony, be respectful. Otherwise, Emperor Yu won't be able to protect you for very much longer." "I'm just talking to Bai Yao, so why are you acting so nervous?" said Lin Feng smiling. "Bai Yao, we had something special before, you must remember," said Lin Feng loudly. Qi Yan was astonished and suddenly looked even more furious. "Lin Feng, if you dare disrespect my wife again, don't blame me for being impolite." "If you want to fight, then I agree," said Lin Feng. Then he looked at Shui Baiyao. "Baiyao, have you forgotten what we did in the cave in the mountains?" The crowd gasped. Did Lin Feng have sex with Shui Baiyao? In the distance, a beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng angrily. "Iren Lei. Had Lin Feng made love with Shui Baiyao too?" "Who are you?" asked Shui Baiyao in a cold way. She knew Lin Feng though, so what was with her act? Bzz. A huge amount of qi moved towards Lin Feng. Emperor Qi had started walking towards him. Emperor Yu stepped in front of Lin Feng and smiled indifferently. "Emperor Qi, there's no need to be angry. Lin Feng is just joking. He's just sad because Qi Yan didn't raise his glass with us too." "Just a joke," said Lin Feng shrugging. Then, he sat down and said confidently, "Back then, before going to the Fortune City, I had a fight against the Celestial Girl. Many people witnessed it. After that, we became good friends. Cultivators have a good memory, so the Celestial Girl should remember." Lin Feng dared continued. The crowd was speechless. Cultivators also have special means to make someone become amnesic using their godly awareness. There's nothing surprising. "Lin Feng, have you never studied that?" asked Emperor Yu to Lin Feng. "Bai Yao, we're going," said Qi Yan while dragging Shui Baiyao. This time, she didn't follow him though. She remained motionless and looked at Lin Feng and Emperor Yu. "Amnesic? Teacher, how can you change people's memories then?" "It's very easy. You first seal somebody's memories. Then, you use a dream technique to inject new memories in that person's brain. Apart from using techniques, you can also use pills," replied Emperor Yu. "Emperor Yu, you're talking too much," said Emperor Qi in a cold way. "Does it bother you, Emperor Qi?" asked Emperor Yu, who was smiling thinly. "Of course it doesn't," said Emperor Qi. Saying yes would have been a humiliation. "Bai Yu, what's wrong?" asked Qi Yan to Shui Baiyao. Shui Baiyao was still looking at Lin Feng and Emperor Yu. She seemed to be interested in their conversation. "Teacher, can the seal be broken, and can a person's memory be inspected?" asked Lin Feng. "Inspecting their memories shouldn't be a problem. Breaking the seal is another story. It all depends on the cultivator who sealed the person's memories," explained Emperor Yu. Shui Baiyao then stepped away from Qi Yan. Qi Yan was astonished and said, "Bai Yu, don't listen to them, they're just talking bullshit. I'll let him inspect my memory and he'll see if it's sealed. Even if it's not sealed, it won't hurt me," replied Shui Baiyao. Qi Yan pulled a long face. He couldn't refuse. Chapter 1473. Danger. Actually, Shui Baiyao couldn't remember much. She could remember her teacher and that she was the holy girl from the celestial land of alchemists, but her memories were too blurry. In her memories, apart from the fact that Qi Yan was her lover and that that day was their wedding ceremony, she couldn't remember anything else. Her teacher had told her that she had been injured and that she had forgotten a lot. However, she felt like she should recognize Lin Feng. So when she heard Lin Feng and Emperor Yu talking, she also started to have doubts. Qi Yan was upset. He shook his head and said, "Bai Yu." "No problem," said an old man at that moment. Shui Baiyao looked at that person and said, "Teacher." "Bai Yao, do it only if you want to," warned the old man. "Teacher," said Shui Baiyao bowing before the old man. She looked at Emperor Yu and said, "Thank you for helping me check." "All right," said Emperor Yu glancing at Emperor Dan, then the emperor from the celestial land of alchemists. Emperor Yu released his godly awareness and inspected Shui Baiyao's memories. After a short time, he came back out and frowned. There was something there that he couldn't explain. "Emperor Yu, is Shui Baiyao's memory sealed?" asked Emperor Dan. Emperor Yu frowned and shook his head. No, it's not sealed. It's not. The crowd was surprised. Why couldn't Shui Baiyao remember Lin Feng then? Emperor Dan groaned coldly and said, Are you sure? She has forgotten a lot. So what would explain that? Emperor Yu shook his head. Shui Baiyao's memory wasn't sealed, he didn't even know what was wrong with her. Her memory had looked intact. Since there's now seal, she couldn't have become amnesic? Lin Feng was skeptical. Why would Shui Baiyao want to get married with Qi Yan? Teacher, I'm sorry, said Shui Baiyao bowing before Emperor Dan. She looked authentically apologetic. She felt guilty because she had had doubts. Baiyao, I don't blame you. Our world is mysterious and strange. Lin Feng said you had had an affair, but he's just a pervert. You're so beautiful, you wouldn't do such things, explained Emperor Dan. Then Emperor Dan looked at Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu, your disciple is talented, but it seems like you're not done bullying Baiyao. You should educate him better. You don't need you to worry about how I educate my disciples, said Emperor Yu in a cold way. Shui Baiyao looked at Lin Feng and said coldly, You're that kind of person. Even though there was a misunderstanding in the past, things didn't happen the way your teacher said. If I tell you that your teacher is trying to make you hate me on purpose, you probably still won't believe me. How dare you humiliate and disrespect my teacher? Said Shui Baiyao. A lotus appeared in her hand and celestial qi flooded out. Die! Shui Baiyao jumped towards Lin Feng. But Lin Feng moved like the wind. Explosions sounded, and Emperor Yu's table broke apart. The celestial lotus chased Lin Feng, then while growing in size, suddenly blotting out the sky. How strong! Shui Baiyao has become a lot stronger since the meeting of the emperors. She's changed a lot too. Lin Feng was observing her strength. Shui Baiyao rose up in the air and a celestial territory appeared. A beautiful celestial girl appeared behind her. It was Xian Envy, the celestial fairy. Metamorphosis, thought the emperors. Shui Baiyao had become a lot stronger. Last time we fought, you also used your celestial territory. You should think about it, said Lin Feng. At the same time, he also used his demonic territory. He was trying to imitate the battle they had had the last time. You think that I trust you? Shouted Shui Baiyao furiously. Celestial laceration. Dazzling lights shot out towards Lin Feng. Bzz. Lin Feng released sword qi and a curtain made of sword qi enveloped him. He was fixedly staring at Shui Baiyao. Think about it, said Lin Feng with a demonic voice. His voice resonated in her brain and stutter. A lotus appeared under Lin Feng's feet and started enveloping him. If you think I'm your enemy, then let's be enemies, said Lin Feng, jumping onto the lotus while releasing more sword qi. The lotus started to crack apart. Curse, said Lin Feng. Cursing energies then surrounded Shui Baiyao. Lin Feng jumped forwards. The lights from Shui Baiyao's celestial body slightly faded. Lin Feng released demonic intent with his right hand. Piss off. Lin Feng punched the air in Shui Baiyao's direction, and her celestial lights exploded. Shui Baiyao was propelled backwards. She even spat out some blood. Shui Baiyao's face turned deathly pale as she coughed. Lin Feng continued running towards her. I'll give you one last piece of advice. Even though you're amnesic, you're not stupid. You can make your own decisions. If you get married with Qi Yan, then you'll regret it, yelled Lin Feng. His voice resonated deep inside Shui Baiyao's brain. Lin Feng, you're insane. You dare attack my bride on the day of our wedding. You're humiliating the Qi Empire, said Qi Yan coldly. Some guards in white armor ran towards Lin Feng. She attacked me first, everybody saw that. I was merciful because I didn't kill her. Of course, I don't care about giving you face, everybody already knows what kind of person I am. At least I have honor and dignity. If you want to fight, come, but against you, I won't be as merciful, said Lin Feng. Who's lying to me? Shouted Shui Baiyao. She felt conflicted inside. She had the impression she should trust her teacher, but from Lin Feng's expression, she didn't know what to think anymore. Chapter 1474, 7 Strong Cultivators. Since you're so confident, don't blame us for not being polite, said Qi Yan in a cold way. You're a guest here, so you shouldn't get involved. You even injured my wife, so I must kill you. If you want to fight, then come and fight already, said Lin Feng. However, Qi Yan just smiled coldly and shook his hand. Instantly, 7 soldiers jumped towards Lin Feng. Is the Qi Empire going to use those 7 soldiers to fight Lin Feng? The crowd was surprised. Lin Feng was extremely strong, and everybody knew that. By now, he had probably become even stronger. They didn't know yet that even cultivators of the 9th Zunqi layer couldn't really compete with Lin Feng anymore. Lin Feng looked at one of them and shivered. Those cultivators didn't seem easy to defeat. I'll go and kill him, said one of them. The 6 others moved back, and that cultivator stepped in front of Lin Feng. One person. They thought that one person could kill Lin Feng? That strong cultivator took out a spear, and with it, dazzling white lights illuminated the sky. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes to avoid being blinded by those lights. Then, the cultivator ran towards Lin Feng as fast as he could. He wanted to kill Lin Feng as quickly as possible, so his spear was aiming for Lin Feng's throat. The crowd understood how strong that soldier was when they saw his attack. He understood acceleration abstruse energy, a type of speed abstruse energy. How many of those soldiers did the Qi Empire have? Lin Feng wasn't any slower than that cultivator though. With his wind and empty space abstruse energies at level 7, plus his Xiaoyao agility technique, he was also terrifyingly fast. Lin Feng was surrounded by dazzling and beautiful white lights as a light moved towards him. How fast, thought Lin Feng, dodging the light beam. He didn't stop though, he continued moving, running around. An ordinary cultivator of the 8th Zunqi layer couldn't have dodged that attack. Even a cultivator of the 9th Zunqi layer could have died. Thought the crowd, shivering. The 2 cultivators were extremely fast. Lin Feng had anticipated he might have to fight, but he hadn't thought that their soldiers would be so strong. Die! Shouted that strong cultivator. In a flash, the sky was filled with force and other energies. Some black lights had even appeared. Those are empty space fissure lights, thought the crowd. So close yet so far. Lin Feng released empty space energies and used his so close yet so far technique. However, a metallic ringing sound dinged. Lin Feng's opponent's spear was too fast and powerful. It immediately destroyed Lin Feng's so close yet so far technique. Lin Feng flew back at full speed, but his opponent's spear continued moving towards him. His speed abstruse energy was level 9. Slow, shouted the opponent while releasing deceleration abstruse energy. Instantly, Lin Feng felt slower. Boom! Instantly, demonic energies emerged from his eyes and rose to the skies. Die, said Lin Feng, now sounding like a demon. He also released sword energies and condensed the natural force of the earth and sky inside. The soldier's spear and Lin Feng's sword collided. The sword broke apart, but Lin Feng also broke through the deceleration abstruse energy and got a little bit farther away. Not too far though, because he still wanted to look at his opponent with his pitch-black eyes. The soldier didn't know too many types of abstruse energies, but those he did were at a very high level. Who are those 7 soldiers? They aren't ordinary soldiers. It's just impossible to say that ordinary soldiers could fight against Lin Feng. Even though that one doesn't know too many kinds of energies, his attacks are truly terrifying. That soldier could even kill Qi Yan if they fought. Thought some people. Emperor Yu frowned as well. Emperor Dong, how come you had such terrifying cultivators come? What did you want to do during the wedding ceremony? Thought Emperor Yu. Lin Feng was releasing terrifying amounts of sword and demon energies to defend himself. The soldier's spear was emitting buzzing sounds as terrifying lights shot out from it. Lin Feng couldn't see clearly because of those lights, however, he didn't care because his pitch-black eyes were strong enough. The soldier moved again. At the same time, he released more deceleration abstruse energies which surrounded Lin Feng. Die! Shouted that soldier. A dazzling light appeared and moved towards Lin Feng with incredible speed. Lin Feng was surrounded by demonic energies which blocked the deceleration abstruse energy, and at the same time, he raised his hands and released sword and death energies. His sword energies moved slowly, but it seemed very stable. He's insane, thought the crowd. Lin Feng saw the terrifying light moving towards him, but he didn't decide to dodge. Instead, he decided to counterattack with sword energies. The attack was too fast anyways, so he couldn't dodge. However, if his sword attack was destroyed, he might die. The spear and the sword collided. Lin Feng's sword contained immortal energy, therefore, the spear's lights moved aside and couldn't break it. Slow, shouted the strong cultivator while releasing deceleration abstruse energy again. However, his deceleration abstruse energy was instantly destroyed. Then, Lin Feng's sword energy surrounded his face and made it explode. That cultivator's abstruse energy was level 9. Only cultivators whose abstruse energy is at the very, very top, or even those who have cosmic energies, can pose a threat to Lin Feng. Besides, if that cultivator didn't have level 9 speed abstruse energy, he wouldn't have been able to resist that long, thought the crowd. The 6 other soldiers ran towards Lin Feng and surrounded him while releasing ice-cold energies. If those 6 cultivators were as strong as the first one, then Lin Feng was in mortal danger. Ho Qing Lin groaned coldly and stood up. Those 6 cultivators wanted to join hands to kill Lin Feng, so how could he sit idly by? Speed abstruse energy, level 9, earth abstruse energy, level 9, empty space abstruse energy, level 9, thunder abstruse energy, level 9. Those 6 cultivators were terrifying. The situation looked bad for Lin Feng. It looks like Emperor Dong was prepared to welcome Lin Feng, thought the crowd. Chapter 1475. Battlefield. Not only did those 6 strong cultivators have level 9 abstruse energies, they were also gifted at using them. The one with earth abstruse energy released an ancient seal which oppressed the earth and sky. It contained terrifyingly hard and heavy energies which created craters all around them. The one with empty space abstruse energy lacerated the air. He condensed golden empty space abstruse energy which eventually turned into a sword. The one with thunder abstruse energy sealed the space around them with destructive chi, making the scene look even darker. Another one released speed abstruse energy which surrounded his colleagues' attacks, making them faster. The ancient seal, the thunders and the empty space sword moved at the speed of light. The crowd was covered in a cold sweat. They could only imagine how they would feel if they were Lin Feng. 5 attackers, 1 assistant who could make their attacks faster and slow Lin Feng down, and all of them had level 9 abstruse energies. Reincarnation, shouted Ho Qing Lin. He released reincarnation energies which surrounded those young men. They instantly sensed a pain invade their bodies. Ruoxie rose in the air too and released acceleration abstruse energy to surround Lin Feng and deceleration abstruse energy to surround the enemies. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng released Ling Long's holy celestial qi and he suddenly looked like an animal. An empty space appeared, and Lin Feng jumped inside. The enemy's attacks crashed onto his empty space, causing the space in front of him to become distorted, breaking the space he had just hid inside. After Lin Feng appeared, energies continued bombarding his body, causing him to cough up blood while throwing him backwards. Those 6 cultivators were terrifyingly strong. The weakest one had broken through to the 8th Zun Qi layer while the others had the strength of the 9th or at the top of the 9th Zun Qi layer. They also understood the force of the earth and sky, so their force was 1,000 times stronger as well. However, at that moment, Ho Qing Lin, Tian Qi and Ruoxie also arrived and released terrifying energies at the 6 strong cultivators who were attacking Lin Feng. The 6 soldiers stopped and looked at Lin Feng and then the others in a cold way. Lin Feng and his friends couldn't see their faces, but they could still see their eyes. Tiantai came here on purpose to cause trouble and ruin the wedding ceremony, said Qiyen walking forwards. Shui Baiyao was still frowning because her thoughts were chaotic. She wanted to remember, she wanted to understand what was going on with her. You sent people to kill me, said Lin Feng. Qiyen smiled and said to Shui Baiyao, Baiyao, go back to your teacher, I'll deal with this. All right, said Shui Baiyao nodding. She felt a bit guilty. What Qiyen said didn't imply anything, besides, she trusted her teacher more than Qiyen. Shui Baiyao moved to her teacher and Qiyen looked to Lin Feng and the others. He was smiling coldly. He slowly turned around and smiled at the messenger. He looked sorry. "I'm sorry, you must think we're ridiculous. I just came here to enjoy some fine liquors," said the messenger, shrugging. That thing had nothing to do with him, so he didn't need to get involved. Someone wants to ruin the ceremony. The Qi Empire is an empire in Jiuyu and the Qi clan is an influential imperial group in Ba Huang. We can't let these people humiliate us. If you could step away, we don't want our battle reaching you. That way, you can continue drinking," said Emperor Qi to the crowd. Instantly, the tables moved aside. Emperor Dong smiled at the messenger, but still, the messenger didn't mind. The Qi clan wants to fight Tiantai even though it's a wedding ceremony. Everybody was surprised. Emperor Qi was very bold. Some people came to cause trouble, so we have to take measures," said Emperor Si Kong, smiling indifferently. "If you need any help, Tianlong Divine Castle can give you a hand," said Emperor Tianlong, smiling indifferently. "Thank you very much, Emperor Tianlong," said Emperor Qi, smiling politely. Many emperors looked excited about finally dealing with Tiantai. Emperor Wen, Emperor Devamara, Emperor Yu, none of them moved. The Great Ape Emperor didn't move either. "Eating here is the same as over there, so there's no need to switch seats," shouted the Great Ape Emperor extremely loudly. "I think so too. No need to switch seats," said the Empress who was next to Iren Lei. Many people didn't move. They were all from influential groups. The Fire Mountain, the Island of the Thunderbirds, the Mangyo Mountain, the Celestial Palace of the Immortals, the Celestial Thunder Temple, the Qifeng Mountain, and so on didn't move. Many people laughed and said, "Some people will regret causing trouble." The crowd perfectly understood what was going on. Those who moved were giving face to Emperor Dong and the Qi clan. Even though everybody was smiling, they were ready to fight. Some emperors thought that by asking them to move, the Qi clan was asking them to position themselves between the two sides. "Your Highness the Messenger, I'm going to deal with this situation," said Emperor Dong, smiling at the messenger again. "No need to worry about me," said the messenger, waving and smiling. Then, Emperor Dong stood up and walked to the middle of the floor. He was smiling, but he looked annoyed. Emperor Dong smiled and then said, "Everybody, do as you wish." Then he walked away with a sharp expression on his face. Chapter 1476, Complex Situation, Lin Feng. Today is Qi Yan's wedding ceremony. There are tensions between us and Tiantai, and we initially intended to forget about those today, but in the end, you injured Bai Yao and humiliated Qi Yan. Since that's that case, we have to kill you," said Emperor Dong to Lin Feng. "Emperor Dong," said Emperor Yu, suddenly standing up. He smiled indifferently and said, "Emperor Dong, the Qi clan and Tiantai are enemies, indeed. You don't need any excuses to kill Lin Feng. I just hope that you will not forget the Emperor's rules though. You're a senior cultivator, so you cannot attack my disciples. Otherwise, I can guarantee that the Qi Empire and the Qi clan will get destroyed. If I attacked him, he'd die in a second. I won't violate the rules, however. No matter, I can tell you that Lin Feng won't leave the Qi Empire alive today. If you want to get involved, I won't refrain from joining as well," said Emperor Dong. The 6 soldiers then instantly released abstruse energies again. At that moment, the crowd was wondering whether Emperor Dong had organized everything for Emperor Shi to show up in the Qi Empire. "All right," said Emperor Dong. He looked at Emperor Yu and the others, then said, "Kill!" Boom! Qi instantly dashed to the skies. The 6 soldiers' energies were terrifying together. Cough, cough. At that moment, the Earth soldier coughed after suddenly feeling weak. What's going on? A cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer couldn't possibly get sick. The other's Qi is also weakening. The crowd frowned. What's going on? Emperor Dong frowned. "Your Highness, maybe they've been poisoned," replied someone. Cultivators couldn't be affected by ordinary poison. Poisons which could affect those cultivators had to be extremely powerful. Poison cultivation was extremely rare, like the sorcerer's arts. Poisoners were even rarer than alchemists. Lin Feng looked at the 6 soldiers and frowned. Suddenly, he also felt like he had no strength. It was as if he couldn't control his strength anymore. Oh no! Lin Feng knew about medicinal pills. And he also knew that only some incredible beasts could poison enemies. Maybe that it was poison, a terrifying one that even emperors hadn't even noticed. Emperor Dong. Many people looked at the alcohol on the tables. The emperors might have drunk the poison too. Everybody, I'm like you, said Emperor Dong. He then looked at the crowd and said, someone made us drink a terrifying poison. Everybody was concerned, but they were skeptical though. Who would want to poison them? And that poison was extremely rare and dangerous. The emperor's reaction proved just how poisonous it was. Who did it? Yelled Emperor Dong while releasing terrifying energies. The atmosphere became extremely calm. The crowd could even hear the wind blowing. It was eerily calm. That poisoner must be stronger than me, said Emperor Dan. But all the emperors have been poisoned too. On top of that, if he dared poison us, it means he's terrifyingly strong. The emperors were being affected by that poison but could still release powerful energies. That poison wasn't lethal, it just restrained their strength a little. Some time passed and nobody showed up. The atmosphere remained eerily silent. Emperor Dan, can't you concoct a pill to cure us? Asked Emperor Dong. Emperor Dan shook his head and said, no, I can't, and concocting pills needs time anyways. Lin Feng and the others all fell down to the ground. Lin Feng tried to remain determined, but the situation was becoming dangerous. Someone is coming, said someone as everyone's attention turned towards the distance. A group of people were climbing up the stairs. Their silhouettes flickered, and they were as fast as lightning. The guards didn't even stop them. Xiao Yan. Emperor Yan looked surprised. Peng Zhe. Another emperor recognized someone else. Chang Feng. Emperor Devamara frowned and looked at that person in a strange way. The crowd was getting nearer and nearer. Xiao Yan went to Emperor Yan. Chang Feng came to Emperor Devamara. Those people knelt down before different emperors and shouted, Teacher! Chang Feng, you're back, said Emperor Devamara, allowing that young man to stand up. He smiled happily and said, Great, you're at the top of the 9th Zun-Chi layer, very top even, right? Teacher, I'm about to break through to the Huang-Chi layer, said that young man with sharp lights in his eyes. All right, very good, said Emperor Devamara, smiling happily. Those geniuses were considered cultivation monsters 100 years ago, and now, surprisingly, they're back. Besides, they are all about to break through to the Huang-Chi layer, explained Emperor Yu to Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng was amazed. 100 years before? They had been to the holy city and now they were finally back. But Emperor Yu frowned as if he had been thinking about something. Teacher, can you help me break through to the Huang-Chi layer? Asked Xiao Yan to Emperor Yan. How can I help you? Asked Emperor Yan, smiling in a resplendent way. Emperor Yan would be happy if he could help. Teacher, look at my current strength, said Xiao Yan, releasing fire energies. His flames contained black fissures inside them. Cosmic energies, you can already control cosmic energies. Emperor Yan was incredulous. His disciple was at the very top of the Zun-Chi layer and controlled cosmic energies. He was about to break through to the Huang-Chi layer. You just need to control your force better, said Emperor Yan. He was trying to think of a solution to help his disciple. Teacher, look at my cosmic energy attacks, said Xiao Yan, smiling. Emperor Yan nodded. Xiao Yan raised his hands and attacked Emperor Yan. Emperor Yan was still smiling. He didn't realize what was going on. However, when the cosmic energy attack crashed onto Emperor Yan's body, he suddenly looked petrified. He suddenly realized something was amiss. What was his beloved disciple doing? Chapter 1477. 7 fish caught in a web. When he sensed the attack, Emperor Yan thought he was hallucinating. He couldn't believe his eyes. He had raised Xiao Yan for a long time, wholeheartedly and happily. He had always thought of Xiao Yan as a great disciple. He wouldn't have thought that his disciple would try to kill him. If Emperor Yan had prepared himself for such an attack, even with the poison, the energies wouldn't have penetrated his body that easily. Unfortunately, his disciple was trying to kill him. Emperor Yan looked like he was in incredible pain. Xiao Yan wasn't smiling anymore. Instead, his eyes were filled with murder. Die, said Xiao Yan furiously. Arg. Emperor Yen roared with pain, the earth around him crackled even. A fire armor formed from cosmic energies appeared on Xiao Yen. However, it broke apart when the attack reached it. Xiao Yen was propelled backwards and coughed up some blood. Not many people paid attention to Emperor Yen because at the same time, Emperor Devamara's disciples and the other disciples who hadn't shown up in 100 years attacked at the same time. Emperor Devamara was ready though because he had sensed something fishy. He counterattacked and sent his disciple flying. "Why?" said Emperor Yen furiously. "Teacher." Fu Hei's face turned deathly pale as he was worried for his teacher. Surprisingly, his fellow disciple was attacking their teacher. Emperor Yu, Lin Feng and the others moved further away. Lin Feng glanced at Emperor Yen and felt sad for him. Attacking your teacher was the worst thing you could do. Emperor Devamara, Emperor Lei, the Emperor of the Church of Desire, the Emperors of the Qi Feng Mountain, the Sunset Pavilion and the Magic World Heavenly Palace are all so unlucky. Their disciples came back and immediately attacked them by surprise. Thought Lin Feng. He looked at Emperor Dong. That day was Qi Yan's wedding, so did Emperor Dong have anything to do with that? If he hadn't organized the event, nobody would have been poisoned. "There's no why, you're just going to die," said Xiao Yan to Emperor Yen. "Teacher, you're poisoned, so you can't control your strength. If you use energies, you're going to hurt yourself," said Xiao Yan smiling. "Fu Hei, go!" shouted Emperor Yen furiously. He was surrounded by fire, so he didn't chase after Xiao Yan. Instead, he grabbed Fu Hei and started running away. He knew that he didn't have much time left. His energies were chaotic, and even though he was still alive, his cultivation was probably going to be crippled. Boom boom. In the sky, a gigantic hand formed from the earth. That piece of earth bombarded Emperor Yen and crushed him into the ground violently. Then a silhouette appeared. "Teacher!" shouted Fu Hei, coughing blood. He was still looking at Emperor Yen though, everything was happening too fast. Was it the Emperor's judgment day? All the disciples from the other groups were also sad. Emperor Devamara and the Empress of the Human Desires Palace were fine because they had blocked the attacks, but the emperors from the Sunset Pavilion, the Qi Feng Mountain, the Church of Desire, the Island of the Thunderbirds and the Magic World Heavenly Palace were severely injured, especially Emperor Lei from the Island of the Thunderbirds. The Emperor from the Church of Desire looked furious. He was soaked with blood and his face was deathly pale. Feng Xian and Feng Ling were also devastated. The emperors from the Six Desires and the Devamara Palace looked at Emperor Yu. He had shouted to warn them a moment before, so they were appreciative. At that moment, the crowd looked at the sky. A bunch of people in black clothes had appeared and they all looked extremely strong. "They're surrounding us," shouted someone. There were people all around them. The one who attacked Emperor Yen a moment ago used Earth cosmic energies, so there must be an emperor amongst them, thought the crowd. Where were those people from? Had they poisoned them? And why were those disciples attacking their teachers? "Who are you?" asked Emperor Dong. But they ignored him. One of them looked at the messenger and said, "Your Highness the Messenger, you are in charge of Jiu Yu and Ba Huang. Please continue drinking and eating. I hope you are not offended by anything we do. Thank you for your understanding." The messenger smiled. He looked indifferent. Then he continued drinking and eating. "The Imperial Assassin Union?" said someone at that moment. Everybody hated the Imperial Assassin Union in Ba Huang. The influential groups of Ba Huang and Jiu Yu had prevented them from existing. Sometimes, a few assassins appeared, but this time they had all appeared. At that moment, someone whose face was covered eviled themselves. Their eyes looked evil and their hands looked like those of a very old person. That person had a black pill in their hand and their voice sounded very hoarse. "Who wants to have it? You'll live only if you take it." A pill? The crowd didn't believe it was medicine, they believed it was poison. "I guarantee you that it can heal you," said that person with reassurance. But the crowd remained silent. Why had those disciples betrayed their respective groups? What was Emperor Dong's role in that story? Even though some people of the Qi Empire were also injured, could people trust Emperor Dong? Chapter 1478. The Fall of the Emperors. Emperor Yen was astonished. He wanted to leave using an empty space, but fissures appeared and blocked his way. "You think you can leave?" asked the one who had just attacked Emperor Yen. "Unfortunately, that pill is good, but nobody wants it." "I'll keep it for myself then," said the old man with a hoarse voice. The strong cultivator who had just attacked Emperor Yen with his earthen territory released even more earth energies. The energies crashed onto Emperor Yen again. Lin Feng raised his head and suddenly saw destructive energies oppressing them. Emperor Yu jumped in front of his disciples, then the earth shook, and suddenly a lofty mountain appeared above Lin Feng and his fellow disciples. The earthen territory crashed onto the mountain, which slowly crackled and exploded. They were safe. "Teacher!" shouted Fu Hei, who was also injured. Apart from that, the other members from the Imperial Assassin Union wanted to attack the emperors who had been attacked already. One of them was terrifyingly strong and attacked the emperor from the Sunset Pavilion. He immediately killed him. He was also the first emperor to die. Emperors are dying. The crowd watched as those lights killed their emperors. There's a medium-level emperor and 8 low-level emperors, as well as a dozen cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Emperor Yu glanced around. At that moment, a dazzling light moved towards Emperor Yu. The medium-level emperor looked at Emperor Yu, Lin Feng, and the others. "Easy." That strong cultivator jumped forwards and flew towards Emperor Yu. Quickly though, Emperor Yu and the 5 others disappeared inside another mountain. When Emperor Yu and the others disappeared, a golden man appeared instead. The medium-level emperor landed where Emperor Yu had been, and a large crater was formed after the attack. "Where are you going?" shouted that cultivator, glancing around. The ground exploded, and fissures appeared. Boom! 10,000 meters away, Emperor Yu, Lin Feng, and the others reappeared. The medium-level emperor smiled coldly. "Since you're here, why hide?" said that medium-level emperor. Buzzing sounds along with scorching white lights shot out. Those were sword lights, but because they moved so fast, they burnt in the air as they traveled. "Umph!" The medium-level emperor groaned coldly. Then a cage appeared in the air and blocked the sword. Emperor Yu and the others appeared again. They weren't that far away. Lin Feng glanced at the medium-level emperor. His heart was racing at full speed. Who are those assassins? Surprisingly, someone had blocked that terrifying assassin's attack. More cosmic energies flooded the area. Illusion cosmic energies. The emperor from the magic world Heavenly Palace had died. That's the second emperor. The crowd was astonished. "Emperor Dong, you're a medium-level emperor. Even if you're poisoned, you can still fight and kill low-level emperors. You organized this event, so why don't you help us?" asked Emperor Yu. "I'm sorry, if I attack, I won't be able to protect Qi Yen," reasoned Emperor Dong. Suddenly, dazzling lights moved towards Emperor Dong. An assassin with a long sword was attacking Qi Yen. Slash. Emperor Qi and Emperor Dong's faces turned deathly pale as they shouted, "Try and dare." Nobody replied to them. Only sword and empty cosmic energies moved towards them. "Break!" shouted Emperor Dong. Dazzling lights appeared and surrounded Qi Yen, but the lights broke as soon as the sword energies reached them. Boom boom. Qi Yan's face was deathly pale. He wanted to move away, but he was imprisoned. He was facing emperors, so he couldn't do much. "Break!" shouted Emperor Qi, releasing golden empty space energies. "How come Emperor Qi is not affected by the poison?" asked Emperor Yu at that moment. Emperor Qi suddenly looked petrified and surprised. At that moment, sword energies moved towards Emperor Qi at full speed. Emperor Dong's face suddenly changed. He disappeared and reappeared again above Qi Yen. He wanted to protect Qi Yen, however, the sword arrived at the same time. "Why isn't Emperor Dong using cosmic energies to deal with those low-level emperors?" said Emperor Yu. Emperor Dong looked nervous too. Then, sword energies penetrated Qi Yan's throat. "Is Qi Yen dead?" thought the crowd. What was going on? They had their doubts about the Qi clan's emperors, but now Qi Yen was killed? Did this event really have nothing to do with the Qi clan? Slash. Terrifying strength invaded Qi Yan's body and lacerated him completely. Flames of fury appeared in Emperor Dong and Emperor Qi's eyes as they watched Qi Yen die. After the 2 assassins killed Qi Yen, They disappeared and reappeared farther away again while releasing terrifying energies. On the other side, cosmic energies appeared again. Another emperor died. The emperor from the Church of Desire. In a short time, 3 emperors had died and Qi Yen. Emperor Yen seemed like he was going to die too. Fu Hei was devastated. He didn't know what to do. He felt powerless in front of all those assassination emperors. The medium-level emperor was condensing thunder energies, and if he attacked, he could kill anyone. Luckily, so far, he was just observing. "Kill them," said the medium-level emperor pointing at Emperor Yu, Lin Feng and the others. Instantly, silhouettes moved towards them. Lin Feng and the others felt like they were going to suffocate. Chapter 1479. Condensation of strong cultivators. Now they were starting to kill emperors who hadn't been attacked by surprise, such as Emperor Yu. 3 emperors. Emperor Yu looked worried. 3 emperors were going for him. What a terrifying army. There were also 2 emperors standing idly who were ready to attack anyone with a moment's notice. "I would have never thought I'd die like this," thought Emperor Yen. Even though the enemies listened to the medium-level emperor and ran towards Emperor Yu, they already knew that they should attack him. Who was behind all that? "Hurry up," said the medium-level emperor. Boom! Emperor Yu jumped forwards and released a mountain attack. Then, Emperor Yu, Lin Feng and the others disappeared in the earthen cosmic energies. The earth shook and broke. An emperor had attacked the mountain with sword energies. The 3 emperors disappeared and flew inside the mountain. "Break!" shouted Emperor Yu. He had reappeared again with an earthen armor on. Lin Feng and the others were also wrapped up with earthen energies. "Illusion," said someone suddenly. Illusional cosmic energies rose up in the air. Suddenly, Lin Feng realized his fellow disciples and teacher weren't together anymore. They were in separate empty spaces. "You two fight against the emperor, I'll go and fight the others," said one of them. The 2 others moved towards Emperor Yu while that one went to Lin Feng and the others. At that moment, a terrifying cosmic energy passed in front of him and he immediately stopped. "Move!" shouted the medium-level emperor furiously. Then, the emperor continued running towards Lin Feng. Bzz. Oppressive energies surrounded Lin Feng. He had the impression he was going to choke to death. Even though he had broken through to the 6th Zun Qi layer, he couldn't do anything against emperors. Even some emperors were dying around them. That cultivator stretched out his hand towards Lin Feng while releasing some cosmic energies. "Die!" Lin Feng's face turned deathly pale. He felt that he had no chance. "No!" shouted Lin Feng while releasing demonic qi. How could he die? When the cosmic energies were just about to kill him, suddenly, terrifying sword energies descended from the sky. Lin Feng sensed that the energies attacking him weakened and had disappeared. Who? The one who wanted to kill Lin Feng looked furious. Who was helping Lin Feng? In the distance, sword qi appeared and whistled. It was an ancient sword qi. Dong! A metallic sound rung. "Who's that now?" thought the crowd. Everybody gazed into the distance. Dong! Another sound appeared as a silhouette appeared at the top of the stairs. It was an old man who had numerous wrinkles on his face. Although he looked old, his eyes looked sharp. He slowly walked towards them. How strong, thought the crowd. The one had tried to kill Lin Feng looked furious. The medium-level emperor looked horrified. It's him. Emperor Qi's facial expression changed drastically. The old man was getting nearer and nearer, his robe was fluttering in the wind. Even though he looked extremely old, he also looked incredibly powerful. Lin Feng recognized him because he had seen him before in Jianghe, when he had taken Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. It doesn't have anything to do with you, said the medium-level emperor to the old man. You went too far, said the old man. The medium-level emperor looked furious. However, at that moment, he seemed even more vigilant. Bzzz. Another silhouette appeared. That person looked terrifying as well. Another medium-level emperor. The crowd was astonished. Brother, help me tidy up, said the medium-level emperor smiling in a cold way. All right, said the person in a hoarse voice who had just appeared. However, at that moment, more and more people appeared. They were all wearing plaited bamboo hats and nobody could see their faces. "You're too impatient," said a cultivator with a plaited bamboo hat. Half of his body was covered by his hat. "Watchers, 18 of them." The crowd was amazed. Lin Feng was surprised but smiled and thought, "It seems like my way of thinking was too simplistic. Anyone can wear a plaited bamboo hat, so there's no limit to the number of watchers." The assassins looked furious. The Watcher's father, the medium-level emperor, looked at the cultivator wearing a plaited bamboo hat who had appeared in the sky. Then he said, "Get ready." "How else should we defeat you?" said the Watcher's father indifferently. He then shook his hand and suddenly dazzling arrows appeared in all the Watcher's hands. They were aiming at the strong cultivators from the Imperial Assassin Union. That person didn't reply. The medium-level emperor who had appeared in the distance looked at the old man. There were 4 medium-level emperors, 2 versus 2. "I hope you won't get involved," said that cultivator to the old man. "I came to protect some people. I don't care about the rest," said the old man calmly and indifferently. "Thank you, Your Excellency," said that person calmly. Then he said to the Watcher's father, "I have even more emperors. Did you think that the emperors of the Ba Huang province and Jiu you can be killed so easily?" said the Watcher's father. The Watchers and the members of the Imperial Assassin Union were starting to argue. Arg, a gigantic stick blotted out the sky and a gigantic black silhouette was holding it. The wooden stick moved towards an assassin. That person wanted to dodge the attack but failed. He was immediately crushed to death. "What a terrifying strength," thought the crowd. "That was the great ape emperor. Why don't you attack? Are you waiting to die?" asked the great ape emperor, trying to wake some people up. Many emperors started releasing their energies. They felt a little bit more relieved as the Watchers were there to help. Chapter 1480. Flinching. "Save me," shouted a voice. People turned around and saw Emperor Si Kong being attacked by 2 assassins. He had already lost an arm and was bleeding profusely. The Watcher's father glanced at that, but he seemed pensive. "Emperor Si Kong is friends with Emperor Qi and Emperor Dong, so why don't you help him?" said Emperor Wen suddenly. But the Wen clan wasn't friends with the Si Kong clan and the Qi clan. Emperor Wen didn't actually hope someone would save Emperor Si Kong. "The Si Kong clan has a medium-level emperor, why doesn't he come out?" asked someone else. The crowd frowned. It was the emperor who hadn't shown up yet, the one who had attacked the emperors with the Imperial Assassin Union. He was blocking the other medium-level emperor and preventing him from attacking. / deadly energies sealed the space. However, that medium-level emperor still didn't appear. A horrible shriek sounded as Emperor Si Kong lost another arm. 2 assassins from the Imperial Assassin Union were oppressing him and were attacking him relentlessly. "Who are you?" asked Emperor Si Kong furiously. He released empty space cosmic energies with his eyes, but the 2 assassins entered another empty space and released their own cosmic energies. Someone else was in an even more difficult situation than Emperor Si Kong. It was Emperor Yen. He had almost disappeared completely. Emperor Devamara and a Watcher were blocking the cultivators who were attacking him, but he was disappearing in a fire. "Fu Hei, come here," said Emperor Yen to Fu Hei. "Teacher." Fu Hei's eyes were bloodshot. Emperor Yen was burning too intensely, so Fu Hei couldn't get near. "After I die, you will manage the fire mountain," said Emperor Yen. Fu Hei nodded, his face was deathly pale. He looked devastated. "He can't receive all your fire cosmic energy alone, much of it will spill over and go to waste. Give some to him and he will avenge you," said the old man next to Lin Feng, pointing at Lin Feng. Emperor Yen slowly turned around and glanced at the old man and then at Lin Feng and nodded. "All right, Emperor Yu and Emperor Shi's disciple is an incredible genius. You're right." Then cosmic energies moved from Emperor Yan's body and 2 lights appeared. One light moved towards Lin Feng and one towards Fu Hei, instantly penetrating their bodies. The terrifying cosmic energies suddenly made their blood boil. "Fire!" Lin Feng sensed the energies overwhelm him. He was worried that he was going to burn to death. Unfortunately, he wasn't an emperor, so it was difficult for him to assimilate those energies. Emperor Yen is dying, and he can transmit these energies only when he is dying. Don't waste them, cleanse your body with them, said the old man to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and closed his eyes while sensing the pure cosmic energies. Lin Feng had cleansed his body with many sorts of energies before. His fire energies were becoming even stronger. Unknowingly, his body started burning. Fu Hei was the same. Behind Fu Hei, a fire silhouette appeared which looked like a fire spirit. Fu Hei apparently had a celestial fire body type. No, at that moment, a voice resonated in the air. A sword pierced through Emperor Si Kong's head and his head exploded. His cosmic energies turned into a light which dashed to the skies. Emperor Si Kong is dead too, the crowd was astonished. The Imperial Assassin Union was finally losing the advantage. Those who weren't emperors died quickly. Even though the emperors were poisoned, they could easily kill people who weren't at the emperor level. Concerning the two strong cultivators who had just killed Emperor Si Kong, they were now moving towards Emperor Qi. "Help me kill them," shouted Emperor Qi. "I told Emperor Dong to help the other emperors, but he didn't. So why would we help you?" said Emperor Yu while fighting against another emperor. Emperor Dong and Emperor Qi looked devastated. "Let's forget about our conflicts and help each other," shouted Emperor Dan. He wanted to join hands with you and Emperor Qi to fight off the assassins. Emperor Qi and Emperor Dong are my enemies. Surprisingly, you want to help them. Besides, it seems like the two Qi emperors are not that affected by the poison. I believe that you joined hands with them and created the poison, said Emperor Yu. Had the assassins joined hands with Emperor Dong and Emperor Qi? Had Emperor Dan made the poison? Many emperors thought that way at that moment, but why had the assassins killed Qi Yen then? And why had they killed Emperor Si Kong, Emperor Qi's friend? Now, they were going to attack Emperor Qi too. Was that the price to pay for a dodgy alliance? The battle was insane. The two medium-level emperors were fighting against the two other medium-level emperors. A medium-level emperor from the Imperial Assassin Union was about to die. The other medium-level emperor was fighting against the Watcher's father. Escape! Finally, the medium-level emperor shouted furiously. The members from the Imperial Assassin Union started running away. The assassins had failed and were now running away. The Watchers and the emperors didn't chase them too closely. The assassins from the Imperial Assassin Union were incredibly strong, so they couldn't be underestimated even whilst running. The two low-level emperors were still fighting against Emperor Qi. They were adamant about killing him. "Haven't you heard?" said one of the medium-level emperors. The two cultivators then moved away at full speed. "We'll meet again," said the two medium-level emperors while rising in the air. They hadn't killed the Watcher's father and the medium-level emperor who had been hiding. Emperor Yen was dead too. Lin Feng and Fu Hei opened their eyes and looked at the corpses. They both looked extremely sad. "Don't be too sad, Emperor Yen is not completely dead," said Emperor Yu. Emperors could make their godly awareness disperse if they weren't completely dead. Lin Feng was surprised but came back to his senses. However, to recover his current strength, Emperor Yen would need a very long time. Yen Di was a perfect example of such a case. "It's a pity that we can't destroy them," said Lin Feng looking at the assassins from the Imperial Assassin Union run away. "Even at the same level, it's difficult to kill them," said Emperor Yu indifferently. Lin Feng still didn't know how to differentiate emperors in terms of cultivation level. Chapter 1481. Complex situation. The crowd looked around as the Watcher's silhouette flickered. "Everybody, you saw how evil the Imperial Assassin Union is. They want to take over the Ba Huang province and Jiuyu," said the Watcher's father before adding, 5 emperors died today. Amongst them, the emperors of the Church of Desire, the Sunset Pavilion, the Magic World Heavenly Palace, and the Fire Mountain are 4 influential imperial groups. They no longer have emperors to protect themselves. I know that many of you will try to attack the Imperial Assassins Union for revenge, but I must warn you, if you attack, or if you join hands with the Imperial Assassin Union to attack these wounded groups, you may regret it. Everybody was surprised. Those who had lost their emperors were also moved. The Watcher's father was telling them that he was going to protect them for a while and that they had to break through to the Huangqi layer if they didn't want their groups to fall and disappear. Besides, the emperors from the Qifeng Mountain and the Island of the Thunderbirds also got severely injured and need time to recover. If anyone attacks them, they'll be considered a part of the Imperial Assassin Union's accomplices. Added the Watcher's father in a cold way. The Imperial Assassin Union wanted to take control of Ba Huang and Jiuyu, which was unforgivable. The situation in Ba Huang and Jiuyu is dangerous. The Imperial Assassin Union used their full strength to attack today. I hope that all the emperors can cooperate and fight against this common enemy. I'm off now. See you. Then the Watcher's father's silhouette flickered, and he left with all the other Watchers. The Watchers have existed for a long time. The emperors have no choice but to join hands and work together with the Watchers for now. With the Imperial Assassin Union so active, there might be another catastrophe, said the old man next to Lin Feng after everybody left. He coughed and put his hand in front of his mouth, but Lin Feng still saw that he was coughing up blood. Master, you're sick and yet, you still came to protect us younger people. I will never forget that, said Lin Feng. Lin Feng had always known that he was an amazing cultivator. Whether he was Emperor Wu Tianjian or not, it wasn't important. He was a sick emperor now. The old man shook his head and smiled. Back then, the Watcher's father protected me too. I didn't come for only you today. Lin Feng nodded. When the old man was younger, the Imperial Assassin Union and the Watchers had already existed. I'm going now, said the old man nodding at Lin Feng. Then he turned around and left. After that, people started leaving. The wedding ceremony had no point anymore because Qi Yan was dead. Shui Baiyao looked confused. That was her wedding, but Qi Yan was dead. She wasn't sad at all though, it was as if a stranger had died. Even if she had become amnesic, she should have been saddened by Qi Yan's death. Boom! At that moment, some extremely powerful qi filled the air. A medium-level emperor's qi, thought the crowd. They saw a silhouette approach Emperor Sikong. He was looking at Emperor Sikong, then he exploded Emperor Sikong's head, and his soul dispersed. Now he would never be able to come back to life. The medium-level emperor from the Sikong clan has arrived, thought the crowd. That was probably the Sikong clan's medium-level emperor. The Imperial Assassin Union seems to hate the Sikong clan and the Qi clan. They killed Emperor Sikong, Qi Yan, and they wanted to kill Emperor Qi, said Emperor Dong. He looked at Emperor Wen and said, You prevented people from protecting Emperor Sikong when the Imperial Assassin Union attacked him. What is that supposed to mean? Are you trying to insinuate that the Wen clan and the Imperial Assassin Union joined hands? Said Emperor Wen, smiling in a cold way. Don't forget that you organized the banquet, and that all the emperors were poisoned besides you. You could have done more but you didn't. The Imperial Assassin Union killed Qi Yan, shouted Emperor Dong furiously. It doesn't mean that the Qi clan has nothing to do with them, said Emperor Wen in a cold way. Emperor Dong looked upset. The banquet is over. You can all leave. What was supposed to be a happy event had turned into a tragedy. Emperor Dong was furious as he glanced at Emperor Wen, Emperor Yu, Lin Feng, and the others. We've all been poisoned here in the Qi Empire and now you're asking us to leave? How shameless, said Emperor Wen, smiling coldly. He looked at Shui Baiyao and said, Shui Baiyao, you heard what the Qi clan said. Emperor Yu and I have the same thought. You've been fooled. The one who treated you badly is now dead, so you should leave. Boom! Emperor Dong released a terrifying qi. Emperor Dong, you're a medium-level emperor but you didn't even protect Qi Yan, shouted Emperor Wen extremely loudly. Everybody looked at Emperor Dong, so he recalled his qi and said coldly, You're very insolent. Qi Yan died and you continue humiliating my family. You even humiliate Qi Yan who is dead. Let the dead rest in peace. Everybody knows that we don't like each other. I can humiliate your dead son if I want to. I'm in your empire now, so if you want to kill me, go ahead, said Emperor Wen. He was seemingly infuriating Emperor Dong on purpose. Emperor Dong looked furious but didn't attack. Get the hell out of my empire. Don't forget that you invited everybody here. We are still not cured of our poison. And now you want us to leave? You're ridiculous, said Emperor Wen. Then he looked at Shui Bai Yao and said, Shui Bai Yao, even though you're amnesic, you can still make your own choices. Your teacher got close to the Qi clan, and now you've become their tool. Your teacher didn't describe the relationship you have with Lin Feng properly. If you go to the Ba Huang province and ask people, they will tell you the truth and you will realize your teacher's lies. Shui Bai Yao looked surprised. Indeed, people in Ba Huang would tell her the truth. Ba Yao, do you trust your teacher or other people? Said Emperor Dan indifferently. Shui Bai Yao remained silent for a few seconds and finally shook her head. Teacher, I need time to think. I need some time alone, so I'm going. Then, Shui Bai Yao's silhouette flickered, and she left. Emperor Dan was surprised and glanced at Emperor Wen in a cold way. Everybody, Emperor Dong has things to do too. We shouldn't disturb him any longer. The effects of the poison are slowly dispersing. Of course, we still can't afford to be careless, said Emperor Wen. Then he waved at Emperor Yu. Emperors from the Devamara Palace of the Six Desires of Qi Feng, let's go together, said Emperor Yu. It would be a great pleasure, said Emperor Devamara. The other emperors didn't refuse either. Let's go, said Emperor Yu to Lin Feng and the others. Then they left. After a long time, the messenger and the young men also left. The scene was chaotic. Many tables, glasses, and plates were broken. Food and alcohol lay wasted on the ground. Emperor Dong was clenching his fists. Emperor Qi and the medium-level emperor from the Si Kong clan were standing next to him. Suddenly, a silhouette descended from the sky. That person looked like Emperor Dong. What's going on here? Asked the emperor from the Si Kong clan angrily. There are two people we can't find, said that person. Those who killed my son and Qi Yen? Asked the emperor from the Si Kong clan furiously. The other one nodded and clenched his fists too. Ridiculous. The two Zun cultivators became emperors, you know that, said the emperor from the Si Kong clan coldly. We couldn't do anything. Do you think they would have listened to me if I had told them not to kill Qi Yen and your people? He explained. The emperor of the Si Kong clan continued looking at him in a cold way. Chapter 1482. Making Lin Feng stronger. Clouds were rolling in the sky as Emperor Yu was in front of Lin Feng and the others. Emperor Yu, Emperor Wen, Emperor Devamara and the others had made an alliance and were becoming good friends. The Six Desires Empress had gotten involved when the Qi clan was trying to kill Meng Qing at the meeting of the emperors, and then Emperor Qi Feng was injured and was moved after Emperor Yu and the others agreed to stay with him. Emperor Yu, are you sure that Shui Bai Yao's memories haven't been sealed or injured? The emperors were talking about Shui Bai Yao's condition. Without a doubt. Even if a medium-level emperor had sealed her memories, I would feel a special strength in her godly awareness, said Emperor Yu calmly. Emperor Wen remained silent for a few seconds. He seemed perplexed. He whispered, no wonder that she's losing her memories. I've heard about a special skill which is related to memory. Those who practice it use it to forget everything except cultivation. That way, they focus solely on cultivation, said Emperor Wen. There are many strange things in the world of cultivation, said Yiren Lei smiling over at Lin Feng. Shui Bai Yao is a strong cultivator. If she studies rare skills, she could become extremely strong. No wonder the Qi clan thought highly of her and wanted her to marry Qi Yen. Now Qi Yen is dead and Shui Bai Yao is alone. It would be sad if she ended up alone. Little Tian, I'm old too now. You should go and find Shui Bai Yao. She could stay with you and travel with you, said Emperor Wen smiling at Wen Tiangu. Wen Tiangu smiled wryly. The other emperors also looked at their disciples. Emperor Devamara smiled and said, we all have some girls and boy, they should make friends with each other. They're all outstanding. Good idea, said Emperor Wen smiling. 3 girls were there, Yiren Lei, Feng Xian and Feng Ling. They were all extremely beautiful. If they wish. I don't mind, said Emperor Qi Feng looking at Feng Ling and Feng Xian. The Qi Feng mountain was a bit weak and Emperor Qi Feng was injured, so he was happy to have better relations with the others. Teacher, I will stay with you, said Feng Ling to Emperor Qi Feng. Emperor Qi Feng looked old and tired, he even had wrinkles now. Little girl, you're growing up so you need a good family, said Emperor Qi Feng while caressing Feng Ling's head. Little Xian, you tell us whom you like and we'll arrange everything, said Emperor Qi Feng looking at Feng Xian and smiling. Feng Xian looked at the young men around her and shook her head. Teacher, I don't want to think about those things. Silly girl, said Emperor Qi Feng shaking his head and smiling. Yiren Lei, whom do you like? Asked Emperor Wen to Yiren Lei. Yiren Lei knew the Kamatha, the 6 heavens of desire and passion skill. If she married a young man from his clan, the young man could only benefit from it. Yiren Lei's teacher shook her head and smiled. She already has a man, I hope you're not too disappointed. She couldn't help but glance at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was embarrassed and glanced over at Yiren Lei as well. Yiren Lei smiled and bowed before Emperor Wen. Don't blame me. Ah, I see. I wonder whom you like? He must be outstanding, asked Emperor Wen. Master, I think he doesn't want me to say his name. Sorry, replied Yiren Lei. Emperor Wen was even more curious, but he just laughed and didn't insist. Unfortunately, I wish you could join my clan, said Emperor Wen shaking his head. He looked at Wen Tiangun Wen Ao Shui and said, What about you? You're both outstanding. Many things have changed in Ba Huang. The road to the holy city is open, so you should practice cultivation, become stronger, and then your chances of success will be higher, said Emperor Yu smiling at them. Everybody nodded. Teacher, if we go to the holy city while some of our emperors have become weak, what will happen? Asked Xiao Yu to Emperor Devamara. Some people will eventually come back. Some people won't go to the holy city and will still become emperors. Everything is possible, so don't worry. Just take care of yourself, replied Emperor Devamara. They continued traveling and left the Qi Empire. Everybody, we're in the Tianwen Empire, we'll stay here for a few days. I should act as a host while we are here, said Emperor Wen smiling. The Tianwen Empire was where the medium-level emperor of the Wen clan lived. But I didn't have any plans. A holiday in the Tianwen Empire sounds like a good idea. Thank you for your hospitality, said Emperor Yu smiling. Tian Tai had dispersed, so Emperor Yu could spend time anywhere. I have some things to do though. I'm off. Emperor Devamara and the Empress of the 6 Desires didn't want to stay, they wanted to go back to Ba Huang. Everybody dispersed. 2 days later, in the mountain range of Tianwen Empire, there were 2 silhouettes in a valley, Emperor Yu and Lin Feng. Ho Qinglin and the others were in the distance with Feng Ling and Feng Xian. Lin Feng, Earth abstruse energy is extremely easy to study and understand because we're almost always on the Earth. Sense the strength of the Earth, sense its vitality, its existence, said Emperor Yu to Lin Feng, who was seated before him cross-legged. Teacher, I understand the concept, but actually understanding it is easier said than done, replied Lin Feng. All right, your feet must be in contact with the ground, I will teach you how to sense it, said Emperor Yu calmly. Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng put his feet on the ground and sensed the pulsations of the earth. After a short while, Lin Feng had a mysterious sensation. It was as if the earth was alive and breathing. Suddenly, Lin Feng sensed danger and moved back. Some sounds then came from the ground, and sharp energies seemed to be moving towards him. Bzz. After Lin Feng moved away, a fissure appeared where he was initially standing. It continued crackling under his feet and he moved away again. The sensation was becoming more intense. Dust rose up and gigantic craters and canyons appeared. Energies seemed to be gathering under his feet as Lin Feng moved faster and faster. Lin Feng was moving around nervously. His perceptions became more acute the longer he avoided the attacks, but he had to be faster if he didn't want to play the victim. After a short time, the ground was riddled with gaping wounds. Lin Feng had dodged many attacks. After 7 days, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu still hadn't stopped. Meteorites were now falling from the sky. The meteorites continued aiming for Lin Feng as the sky was completely distorted, making things look rather ominous. Sister, Emperor Yu is so kind to Lin Feng, said Feng Ling smiling at Feng Xian. Our teacher is like that too. We must become stronger and repay our teacher, said Feng Xian smiling at Feng Ling in a gentle way. Indeed, said Feng Ling, nodding. Then, she continued watching Emperor Yu teach Lin Feng cultivation principles. They could also learn by watching. Chapter 1483, Celestial Walls Manor. 3 months later, Lin Feng was still in that mountain range, now sitting cross-legged and focusing. He wasn't fighting against the earth anymore, but he could still sense its every single pulsation. It was as if he had become part of the earth. Phew! Lin Feng took a deep breath and stood up. He started walking and energies rolled in waves around him. Canyons appeared under his feet. With the power of his thoughts, Lin Feng carved a gigantic word in the ground in the form of canyons, Earth. Earth energies are robust and imposing, whispered Lin Feng. He had a yellow earthy aura at that moment which looked like an armor. However, when he thought about something else, the armor disappeared. Not bad, in 3 months, my earth abstruse energy is already level 8. Now I need to catch up with my fire abstruse energy, thought Lin Feng. He glanced at Emperor Yu in the distance and smiled. Teacher. Very good. You will soon be going to the holy city. I'll take you somewhere else and then I think we can go back to Tianjing City and gather with your fellow disciples, said Emperor Yu, smiling. Then he looked at Feng Ling and Feng Xian. Your teacher went back to the Qifeng Mountain and asked me to take care of you, so you should come with Lin Feng and me. Thank you, Emperor Yu, they both replied politely. Let's go. They rose up in the air together. Ho Qing Lin and the others were gone already. Teacher, where are we going? Asked Lin Feng, standing on a cloud. There is an ancient city in the Tianwen Empire. There is a manor there. The owner is an incredibly strong yet discreet cultivation emperor. He doesn't really care about worldly affairs. In his manor, there are walls which can help cultivators improve their understanding of the great force of the earth and sky. The name of the place is the Celestial Walls Manor, replied Emperor Yu. The group of people traveled across the sky in a cloud. Even if people passed by, they wouldn't see them. Just like Emperor Yu had said, the Celestial Walls Manor was in a small ancient town, in a small country of the Tianwen Empire. After Emperor Yu and the others arrived in the small city, they realized that the people in the city had low cultivation levels. Most of them were Xian level or Tian level cultivators, while Zun cultivators were extremely rare there. 6th Zun Qi layer. A group of young men looked at Lin Feng angrily and released their qi in the distance. They also noticed that the others were all quite strong. They couldn't see how strong Emperor Yu was though. How come so many people come to the Celestial Walls Manor these days? Whispered the young man who had noticed them. Even though he whispered, Emperor Yu and the others heard him perfectly. Those people were locals, so they weren't used to seeing so many strong cultivators. It's the same every 100 years. People come here to study the strength of the earth before going to the holy city, replied another one. Lin Feng was surprised. Even though that place was secret, many people seemed to know about it. After a short time, they arrived in front of the gate to a gigantic manor. Lin Feng could already sense its incredible energies. That place seemed like it was one with the earth and sky. Lin Feng, we arrived. You go in alone and focus on studying the walls, said Emperor Yu to Lin Feng and the others. Then he disappeared. Let's go in, said Lin Feng to Feng Xian and Feng Ling. They then entered the house, and nobody prevented them from entering. They walked down the main alley and saw some people in front of them. My name is Lin Feng. I just came to the Celestial Walls Manor to observe the walls, said Lin Feng. One of the young men smiled at Lin Feng and said, some people are already using them. Come back another day. We came from very far away and we don't have much time. If we need to pay anything, just tell us, said Lin Feng politely. The Celestial Walls Manor was a place hidden by an emperor. Lin Feng was a guest, so he had to be polite. There's no price. People can come, and we are happy to have guests. In normal circumstances, I would let you, but today is really not a good time. It would be better if you waited for a few days. I can help you find a place to sleep, as well as food and drink, said the young man politely. He was from the manor, so he had to be polite to guests. Lin Feng looked disappointed. Was it not a convenient time? You're lying, said someone at that moment. A silhouette appeared outside the manor. It was a young man who was smiling in a cold way and had his arms crossed on his chest. Lin Feng turned around and recognized that young man. He smiled and said, "Brother Xiao Yu." "Brother Lin, the Celestial Walls Manor was created by an incredibly strong cultivator. Anybody can come and use it as they wish. There's no such thing as convenient or inconvenient times here." "He's lying to you," said Xiao Yu indifferently. The young man's facial expression suddenly changed as he glared at Xiao Yu. "And you're an evildoer," said that young man. Lin Feng frowned. Xiao Yu was right. Why did people from the small town want to prevent him from going? The one who had created that place had wished that anyone could use it. "So you just don't want me to go in?" said Lin Feng to the young man. He sounded angry. The young man initially sounded polite and courteous, so he believed him, but it seemed that Xiao Yu was right. What was going on? "I said it's not the right time, so it's not the right time. Leave now," said the young man. Lin Feng suddenly released sharp energies. "Brother Xiao Yu, what's going on?" asked Lin Feng. "A month ago, some people came here. You know them already because they were at the banquet in the Qi Empire. The locals found them nice and agreed to prevent other people from observing the walls while they were here. Those people want to have the walls for themselves is all," said Xiao Yu. Lin Feng immediately understood. The messenger and the others? "You're very smart," said Xiao Yu smiling. "So they despise us?" said Lin Feng smiling coldly. "Seems like it," said Xiao Yu nodding and smiling. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the locals. "Does the creator of this place agree with you doing this?" "The creator of this place is a hermit. He doesn't know what's going on here. He doesn't manage this place said Xiao Yu. "Are you done talking?" asked the young man. "You're right. Our teacher doesn't manage this place, but we do. Thank you for leaving," said the young man pointing at the exit. Chapter 1484. No time to waste with you. "I came from very far away, so do you think I'll leave because you tell me to?" said Lin Feng while slowly walking forwards. If there were rules, he would respect them, he would pay if he had to even. But this had nothing to do with rules. Who did the young men inside think they were? "Do you think you can take over the Celestial Walls Manor or what?" said that young man. "Before you, he already tried to go in, but we made him leave. If you fail to appreciate our kindness, don't blame us for being impolite." "You don't need to justify yourself," said a girl next to him. Her friend was nice to Lin Feng because he was with Feng Ling and Feng Xian, who were incredibly beautiful. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been that polite. That girl was jealous. "Don't make things difficult for yourself. If you cause troubles, you will regret it," said the girl coldly. Many people came to the Celestial Walls Manor. They had even seen strong cultivators of the 8th and 9th Zunqi layer even. Lin Feng had only broken through to the 6th, while Feng Ling and Feng Xian were even weaker, so they didn't care much about them. "I came here to see the walls," said Lin Feng walking forwards. The ground was crackling under his feet. "You must want to die." When the young man saw that Lin Feng not only refused to leave but also threatened him, his robe started fluttering and he released a strong qi in return. Dong! One of the young men walked towards Lin Feng. The ground started shaking and a strong wind started blowing. 5th Zun Qi layer and his force is multiplied by 100. His qi is more powerful than the qi of an ordinary cultivator of the 7th Zun Qi layer, thought Lin Feng, sensing the young man's energies. The young man of the 6th Zun Qi layer was very strong and there were probably even stronger cultivators than him around. No wonder Xiao Yu had been kicked out. Bzz. Lin Feng sensed the force of the earth and the sky surround his body. It was also multiplied by 100. At that moment, a light appeared which made people feel nervous. Force multiplied by 100, the crowd frowned. Lin Feng's force was also multiplied by 100 times. With the strength of the 6th Zun Qi layer, that was quite impressive, especially given that most cultivators first studied abstruse energies. My force is multiplied by 100 and I can force fuse together with my attacks, so I should be able to defeat him, thought the cultivator of the 5th Zun Qi layer as he faced Lin Feng. The cultivator suddenly became as large as an elephant and the ground broke from under his feet. Lin Feng's robe was fluttering and the ground shook. Break! Lin Feng suddenly jumped forwards. The opponent raised his feet and fissures appeared below them while qi and force floated around above. Piss off! Lin Feng jumped again. More rumbling sounds as his opponent had a mountain thrown at him, tossing him away. A silhouette rose up in the air and grabbed that person. Then he descended again while holding him. Not bad. Surprisingly, your force is also multiplied by 100. However, you still can't act recklessly here. Now apologize to my fellow disciple and I will allow you to come back some other time, said the cultivator of the 6th Zun Qi layer while he put his friend of the 5th Zun Qi layer on the ground gently. Bzzz. An oppressive strength surrounded him. Nobody replied to him. Instead, force rolled in waves towards him. I'm not going to waste my time with you, said that cultivator while running towards Lin Feng. A strong wind started blowing again carrying qi and force. That attack could easily kill a cultivator of the 6th Zun Qi layer. Now, even if you kneel down and beg me, it's already too late, said that cultivator. He condensed more force which was now multiplied by 200. How scary, thought Lin Feng. He was also excited though. Lin Feng didn't want to give up, he wanted to study the walls in the manner even more after seeing these cultivators. That cultivator had broken through to the 6th Zun Qi layer, so Lin Feng could also learn how to multiply his force by 200 at least. Kneeling down though? How ridiculous! Lin Feng just laughed. Force was a kind of strength. Did he think that force was enough to defeat Lin Feng? Slash, slash. The sound of something being cut sounded. The ground was shaking, and the wind was blowing strongly. Suddenly, in that terrifying force, Lin Feng appeared. I will show you what force really is, said that cultivator at the same time. However, he saw so many different silhouettes, he didn't know which one the real Lin Feng was. Boom boom, buzzing sounds spread in the air. A fist descended from the sky, causing the earth to shake even more. He raised his head and his face suddenly turned deathly pale. Bam! The terrifying force dispersed, and that cultivator crashed onto the ground. A hand mark appeared on his face. Now, he was stroking his face because it hurt. I'm not going to waste my time with you, said Lin Feng. That cultivator stood up, his cheek was twitching. Lin Feng had slapped him. He didn't look so arrogant anymore. At the same time, sounds of steps came from deeper inside the manor. A group of people soon appeared. The leader was a beautiful girl who looked cold and arrogant. Chapter 1485. Invasion? Why did you come here? Asked the girl coldly. My name is Lin Feng, my two friends and I want to see the walls, said Lin Feng walking forwards and releasing qi. You came for the walls or to cause trouble? Asked the girl. Suddenly, she ran towards Lin Feng with her fist raised. Her force was multiplied by 200 as well. You don't understand politeness. Lin Feng jumped forwards and used his deadly demon punch. His fist and his opponent's fist collided, and explosions sounded. Break! Shouted Lin Feng. Qi rolled in waves and the girl was propelled away, blood spilling out of her mouth. She was surprised. You have only broken through to the 7th Zun Qi layer, you shouldn't be the strongest one here, said Lin Feng, glancing at that girl in a cold way. He continued walking forwards. He fused his agility technique together with the ground. What an arrogant guy, thought the crowd. The Celestial Walls Manor had existed for so many years. Nobody had ever dared cause trouble there except for a month ago when a young man had come and had dared act arrogantly. And now, once again, a young man dared act arrogantly. However, that young man was a lot weaker than the one from a month ago. A powerful force moved towards Lin Feng. All the strong cultivators from the Celestial Walls Manor knew how to use force, so combining their forces together packed quite a punch. Slash! A sword light streaked ahead. Lin Feng jumped forwards while condensing his own force. He held sword energies in both hands. Since you don't want to let me in, I'll see myself in, said Lin Feng. His voice sounded as sharp as a sword. He released earth strength and wrapped himself up in it as well. Lights flickered as an axe appeared in Lin Feng's hand. He made earth abstruse energy fuse together with the axe and attacked with it. His strength crashed onto two people and made them fly away. They crashed onto a stone which easily exploded. Lin Feng was now holding his axe in his left hand and a sword in his right. One of them saw Lin Feng's eyes and sensed a demonic strength permeate their brain, affecting his determination. "Piss off," said Lin Feng aggressively. That person's chi weakened, and then a terrifying force crashed onto his body. Like the two others before him, he was propelled away. The arrogant-looking girl glared at him again before she ran towards him and attacked. "You're acting recklessly. If we were fighting to the death, you'd all be dead already," said Lin Feng. His eyes were pitch black and looked ice-cold. When he glanced at the crowd, they all shook. Lin Feng was confident that he could kill them all with only his cursing energies. "Curse!" Lin Feng didn't back down. He continued running forwards while releasing cursing strength. When the beautiful yet arrogant girl looked into his eyes, she felt like she was going to freeze over. Even though she talented while using force, she had only broken through to the 7th Zun Qi layer. Back then, the great Oriental Greenfinch Rock, with his imperial weapon, his incredible speed, defense and attack still couldn't compete with Lin Feng's cursing strength. "Die," said Lin Feng. The girl suddenly felt like she was going to die. Lin Feng's cursing energies were corroding her body and she started shaking. She looked at his eyes again and believed that Lin Feng could kill her instantly if he wanted. "Bzz." Lin Feng stretched out his hand and grabbed her by her throat and shouted, "Piss off." "Gotcha!" Lin Feng threw the girl at a rock. The girl was lying on the stone while coughing up blood. She didn't look arrogant anymore, quite the opposite, her face was deathly pale. "Sister, Lin Feng can defeat cultivators at the very top of the Zun Qi layer," explained Feng Ling Kacha. Lin Feng punched someone else. That person's organs immediately tore, and they were propelled away. They couldn't withstand a single attack. "Piss off," said Lin Feng while trampling the ground. The alley was completely ruined with fissures. Lin Feng released death abstruse energy which surrounded the remaining people. Very quickly, Lin Feng's opponents were all on the ground, their faces were deathly pale. They were crawling on the ground and staring at Lin Feng in a cold way. "Sorry, but you didn't let me in, so I had to," said Lin Feng while glancing at them. He looked at Feng Xian and said, "Let's go." "How strong?" Xiao Yu, who was standing behind, smiled with admiration. He followed in too. They arrived at a long corridor. Lin Feng released his godly awareness and inspected the place. Many people wanted to stop Lin Feng, but he ignored them. He forced his way into the different rooms and courtyards. Finally, Lin Feng found a special place where the walls were shiny as if they had been polished. There were special energies residing in those walls. At that moment, there were some people studying there. Their cultivation levels were very high, and they were stronger than the people he had just fought against. Lin Feng had already seen some of them with the messenger. The others were probably people from the Celestial Walls Manor. The weakest cultivator was a cultivator of the 7th Zun Qi layer, while the strongest one was a girl. She was very beautiful, tall, and she had the strength of the 9th Zun Qi layer. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.